Hello and welcome to episode 341 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
The writer, reviewer, and one of the mad scientists behind Tribute Press, Mr. Tony Esmond.
Hello.
And this week, 2022 officially kicks off being fun, proper fun, because we are joined by a master of ceremonies for the Awesome Pod Drink and Draw and creative whirlwind by himself. It's Mr. Tom Curry. Hello, sir.
Hello, sexy.
Hey, Tom, how's the wishing?
Oh, good, thank you. Yeah, all going well. All going well.
For those who don't know, we have a little WhatsApp group between us. It's called ACP and the Make-A-Wish Kid.
Yeah.
Which Dan named, which made me laugh. Yeah.
I don't think it was me.
Oh,
no, it was me. It was me.
Was it you?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Tom, yeah.
Yeah.
And now Joe officially calls you, how's Make-A-Wish? That's how she calls you.
Great name. We were just talking about, we had the ACP drink and draw on.
Yeah, it was
Friday.
good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
a good laugh.
Yeah.
Little shout out to everyone who came along. It was a really funny, a lot of art talked about as well, actually. A lot of good art shown and stuff. JWC popped in from her jet setting honeymoon in Hawaii. It was pretty cool. Showed us out the window and we were all jealous.
Yeah, looking at the sun-kissed Hawaii beach.
Palm trees and
when he's sitting in a rainy, freezing cold East Grinstead.
Grey and miserable and horrible.
Bit of a potted Tolkien talk as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that bit.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. But yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah,
I was very impressed, Tom. You posted up your pixel art piece, which you had animated
thing. Yeah, it was good.
I was very impressed with that. Yeah, you kind of you. How long ago was that you started? Because basically you come on this leaps and bounds with.
I'd say about 2 years ago.
Yeah, really come on.
2 years of like not realizing I couldn't do. I had just trouble drawing like in a more traditional style, and I was like, oh, let's just find this weird little niche. It's fun. Yeah,
you can draw in a traditional style. Don't let yourself down. I think it's great. Yeah, I like your stuff. There was a lot of good art. People were doing a lot of good art. We had, as well as your stuff, we had Simon Russell doing that really beautiful stuff he was doing, and then we had Boba Fett as well, didn't we? From Ian Ashcroft.
Oh yeah, I saw that. He posted that.
I was about to say Boba Fett was actually on the drink and draw.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't tell.
we had Al Henson's thing.
Oh, that was good. That thing he did was great, wasn't it?
It was great. It was really good.
Rachel E. Carter did a Nick Cave for his birthday, wasn't it? I think. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, there's loads of good stuff going on. Even John Ottaway, he's not a murderer, by the way. He did a really good samurai, didn't he? That was quite nice.
Brilliant samurai, yeah. Really good.
The drink and draws are now going to be a regular thing because the next one is on the 4th of February, I believe.
It is the 4th, yeah.
4th of February. So, and they're open to everyone. Like I say, even if you just want to turn up and just listen.
People had that. We had just people listening.
Yeah. If you want a bit of background fun and banter and while you're doing some drawing or just chilling out or doing whatever, doesn't matter.
I spent most of my time writing, actually. And it was just like the last half an hour, I was like, I'll just do something else.
Was that just the evidence of what was said in case it needs to be the police? Yeah.
There was more also. I mean, like, I was also enthralled by the Swindon Town talk of, how they're going to do in football.
It's Sarah lives near Swindon Football, who were playing Manchester City, I think, weren't they, or something?
Yep, that's right.
And she did some very nice art, some preparations for some, I don't know what you call it, drawing on walls. She's doing graffiti. I don't know. Yeah. Mural. There you go. Mural.
I'm well out of my league when I made a football pun there. Well out of my league when it comes to football talk. I can kind of just about fudge my way through if I'm out with a group of lads who are talking about football.
Yeah. I used to do it like as a joke because you learn it through osmosis if you're in certain offices, don't you? And then they were talking about some match I didn't have a clue about from the weekend. I had no interest in. And so I would do the whole IT crowd thing and go, the second half was much stronger. I thought the teams were much better. I reckon the manager had a chat with them in the half time. One of the people will go, oh yeah, you might be right. And then eventually
they're having a laugh, trying to walk it in.
Yeah, it's like a slightly better version of that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Problem with this team is they can't play on wet grass. Terrible.
Aren't
they?
I usually say
those new boots.
If someone's got the ball, like you always say, like, right, fucking hold it now, hold it, and then that doesn't really say anything, or just hold on to the ball, and makes it sound like you know what you're talking about.
You know tactics, don't you? Clearly,
yeah,
you're all over that, mate.
You know, fuck me.
I know, but
never guess this is a comic podcast, would you?
No. That's your way to bluff through society. That is a lesson.
I just got followed today by a podcast that's about old school British football comics, like Roy the Rovers, and
Yeah.
Scorcher and all that sort of thing. And I might have listened to that because I've got a little pile of them here, and I think there's some good stuff in there as well.
Nice. Do you know where else you can find a pile of great comics to check out?
Where?
I do know.
My toilet.
Do you ever? I bet you've got like some sort of rack.
Yeah, there's some hardbacks in there. Yeah,
Hardbacks? You take hardbacks?
Oh no, they're like annuals, old annuals.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah. Not
Razzle Reader's Wives Monthly.
Yeah.
Penthouse.
What else can you take to the toilet, Vince?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you, dude. It's your private life. I'm not going to pry on this. But if you want to check out some comics, though, no matter where you are, in your house or in the world, then you should check out Comic House. I love your sponsor. They are an indie comic marketplace with a difference. They're an indie comic marketplace. Woohoo! And they love indie comics just as much as we do. If you go to comichouse.com, you'll see there's a huge selection of titles on their database. If you self-publish your own comics, you can also list your book on there and start selling it straight away. It's another avenue to get your work out there. Plus, if you've got digital versions of said books or said work, whatever it may be, then add it to the app because it's amazing. It's being added to all the time. And there's a featured section every week, etc. It's basically like Netflix for comics. Subscription service, £3 a month. You get access to an enormous library of digital indie comics, such as, Dan.
We've got Murmur, issue 1, 2, and 3, all on there from Bloodline Comics. We've got Zero Medal, issue 3, Maximum Endurance. And we've got a title here called Remnants Volume One, which the story synopsis goes: when Jen inherits some money, she buys a dilapidated house in her hometown. The house is full of remnants and it's of its former inhabitants, and slowly she finds herself being drawn away from the present and into the past. By Lucy Starbuck Bradley.
Starbuck.
That's her name. Lucy
Wow.
Starbuck Bradley. And
Americano.
I like the look of that. I'm going to go and check that out on the app.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Big ghost action, I think, maybe.
Yeah, look in my garage, just find a load of old DVDs.
Ghost action, like a bit of pottery or something like that.
Ghost action.
Well, that scene from Ghostbusters 1.
Grow up, Tom.
I was scanning through my memory there.
I think you mean Ghostbusters 3.
Ghostbusters 2.
I haven't seen that new Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's all right, see. I like Whoopi Goldberg. I had a strange sort of fascination with her, or I'd like to have sex with her for a while.
And if you want to,
is there any women that have
comics?
No,
let's
leave that
get
life.
away from Whoopi Goldberg pretending
give me
to be a nun and what it does to Tony Esmond.
Yeah.
Much love to you, Whoopi.
If you went out with Ted Danson, didn't she?
She did. Yeah.
Let's just leave that there. So basically, if you want to sign up for this service, it's only £3 a month, like we said, which is less than your average digital comic these days. There's a 14-day free trial, and just loads of stuff on there. And like I say, if you're an indie comics, if you make your own indie comics, add them to there because it's a new audience.
May as well.
With one click, you can get added to the British Library.
We've all got comics on there. Tom, do you have a comic on there?
I'm part of the Slice anthology. I'm on there.
There you go.
And you're part of the Hall Chronicles.
Of course I am. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So, and you're in Viper, and that's on there too.
Yes,
yeah.
I did that one. Make it into Viper. I didn't. I
did.
I knew on the Comixology one.
Yeah, they stripped it out.
Oh, did they?
Too hot.
Because it's an advert, and you can't have adverts, but it's a spoof satirical advert.
Did they seriously?
Right.
Took out a spoof advert.
Took it out.
There was obviously a very convincing advert. It's obviously a very convincing advert.
Yeah,
if they realised it.
Well, you get a bit of a job's worth.
Yeah.
So go to Comic House for the full unadulterated experience.
Yes, exactly.
Experience.
That's the way you spin it.
Comichouse.com. Check it out if you want to see the non-stop. Cannot it's too saucy for Comixology. No, was it saucy? No, it was
too hot for Comixology.
Too hot for Comixology.
Too capitalistic for Comixology. What?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
I didn't buy Amazon.
Yeah. But yes, that's our lovely sponsor. Thank you to the Comic House
Fight the man
sponsoring the show. But like I say, this week we're gonna have kick the year off once again with a lot of fun. We talked a bit about the year ahead, but this year we're just gonna get this week we're just going to go a bit wild, aren't we? Obviously Tom's here, and we got some games to play. Also, if you checked out a couple of weeks ago when we had our big quiz of the year, and if you played along, let us know how well you did. We did a round about the Beano. Now, we don't want to leave anyone out, so we got some questions about the Dandy this week, haven't we, Tony?
Oh yes, looking forward to that.
I don't like the way you.
Do you want to start with that one, or what we can do?
Well, how Tom, you're the guest.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, Tom can decide.
How do you want? Because you've got some.
Tom's got his quiz. We've got Tom's quiz.
Yeah. I would love to start with the Dandy. Actually,
would you? Okay.
I'd actually love to. Yeah, it sounds.
Get warmed up in the Dandy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Sounded massively ignorant. Is that still going, the Dandy, or is it?
I think it's been incorporated into the Beano.
Oh yeah, Beano incorporating the Dandy.
Okay.
Yes, I believe so.
It's no longer in print. Is it online? Has it an online?
Please
presence?
correct me on Twitter, where I won't read it. But yeah, I think it's.
And we'll hate you and I'll block you. Well, okay. So what we did in the quiz, one of the funner bits of it, we did. I'd been to the Beano exhibition that day, hadn't I? I think. So we did I made up some titles for Beano stories, and I included real ones. And I got everyone to guess which was the real one, guess which was the fake one. So I thought we'd do that again, because I had a look at the Dandy, and which is almost as long as the Beano, isn't it? And it's got some great titles in there as well. So I thought we could try that with the Dandy as well. So I've got a number of titles here. Some are true and some are not. And what I'm going to do is, as we go through, I want you just to shout out whether you think it's true or not.
Okay.
Everyone understand the rules?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is Keyhole Kate. Keyhole Kate.
Oh, so that's true.
That's true.
I'll go for false to put some jeopardy in there.
It is true, that one. It's true. There you go. Look, there's a cover of it. Keyhole Kate. She was actually a cover star. And I'm just showing the boys a cover from June the 23rd, 1945.
That seems a very thin premise.
Can't last, can it?
Yeah. It's a girl who looks through keyholes.
No, but she's also got a keyhole bed and keyhole windows.
Oh yeah,
and she
keyhole
has
fireplace.
Keyhole fireplace, which is quite a good feature of the room, I think.
It's quite cool. That,
she got a fireplace in her bedroom.
She got a fireplace in her bedroom. It's on the second floor.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
They got a few quid, didn't they?
Next one, number 2.
Okay.
Bradley's Bumblebee. Bradley's Bumblebee.
I'm going to say false, because that sounds like that's too much fun, tripping off the tongue.
I'll go true, just to be a contrarian.
So I also think true, because there is a superhero called the Bumblebee.
No, it's false. I made that one up. Bradley's Bumblebee. Number 3, Jimmy and his Grockle. Jimmy and his Grockle.
Yeah, true.
Guys?
False. I don't even know what a Grockle is.
I'm not sure either.
True?
It's true. It ran between 1937 and 1946.
Did you say true there, Tom?
I did say true, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not keeping score for any of you.
I'm keeping score.
Oh, yeah. Well done. Okay, good.
I'm keeping score.
Number 4 then. Muggins. Muggins.
True.
Guys?
False.
Oh God, it really could be either way. I think with this one, I'm going to say true again.
Yeah. So it is true. It ran between 1937 and 1938.
This is how you guys do it. This is what's happening. This is
how
you
what you mean? Completely just guessing and
just guessing. Yeah.
What's the premise of Muggins?
I'm not sure. Don't ask me questions about these. I've just got the names off Wikipedia.
He just to steal the purses of old women.
Yeah. Well, I've got mug written across my forehead. He kept saying that to people a lot. Yeah.
I'll tell you, mug people off.
Yeah. What are you mugging me off, son? It's actually about Danny Dyer's dad.
Wayne ends up getting a thrashing in the last panel going, ooh, yeah. Don't, Dad.
Don't mug me off, son.
Oh, you're having a bath.
Having a Turkish. The next, number 5, Dopey Diner. Dopey Diner. And it's the girl's name. Dopey Diner.
I think false.
Guys?
I go false.
False.
It is, in fact, a true strip, and it ran between 1938 and 1940.
You nearly had a clean sweep there, V.
Yeah.
Really?
Number 6. You ready?
Yeah.
Huh?
Gary Glitter's Castle.
True.
Oh,
True.
Gary
what?
Glitter's Castle.
True.
Guys,
Tell me what you reckon.
true.
Dan?
True. I'll go. Yes.
No,
true.
I made that one up because I'm
Ah, it sounds like something it's so shocking it must
Yeah.
be.
Oh,
For our
Number-
listeners who don't know who he is, don't Google him.
Don't Google him.
It's
Yeah.
horrible. It's horrible.
Also rhyming slang. I'll do anything for love, but I won't take it up with Gary Glitter. Right, number 7.
Lies.
Eyes. Number 7. Our teacher is a walrus. Our teacher is a
Hang
walrus.
on, that sounds like a book that's out this year from like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Fantasy
No
Graphics
brow.
or something.
I'm going to go yes. That's true.
Guys?
I'm
no,
going to go
that's
false.
I'll go
Yeah.
go false.
Okay, it is true. It ran between 1939 and 1947, so it ran 8
I
years.
must say,
Oh.
between the like 30s and mid
Some
40s,
crazy stuff going on.
they
there
were
as
just
well.
going for anything.
Yeah. So how do you string that out every week for fucking 8 years though? Do you know what I mean?
No, man. Yeah.
Oh, he's a walrus again. Oh shit.
Yeah.
You know. Next one,
Better.
number 8. Little White Chief of the Cherokees. Little White Chief of the Cherokees.
That's, do you know what I think true because that sounds
This is a
awful.
problematic one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so
Yeah, probably.
awful.
I'll go false.
I'll go
It
true.
is true, and it ran from 1939 to 1952.
I
Oh.
wanted to say true because it sounds horrible, and
Yeah.
I didn't want Tony
They have
to
made
have
it
made
up.
that up.
The other two believed I had done. The other two believed I was being a racist. Right, next one. Okay, there's actually 2 titles for this. It had 2 titles over its life. It was Huey's Marvelous Brushes, and then later on it changed into Chimney Sweepers Inc. So it's Huey's Marvelous Brushes, aka Chimney Sweepers Inc.
Now, this is
False.
what I think. This is what I think.
Go
I
on.
think
Go on.
I think false. I reckon it's kind of true, but I reckon they were 2 separate strips. So I reckon Tony's just trying to do us here. This is what he does. He
Okay.
plays mind
Yeah.
games.
I am playing mind games with you,
I-
but is it true or is it false?
I'm going to go true.
I think it's false.
All right, it's false.
It is false. I made it completely up. Yeah, there was no such strip. I made them up. That was quite a good one. Number 10, the Magic Knockers. The Magic Knockers.
True.
Don't do that when I'm drinking.
True.
That is
Yeah, it's
it's
true.
got it's got to
true.
be it's got to be true.
It is true. 1943 to
It's
1944.
I bet door knockers.
It's got to be in it. It's got to be
Yeah.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she teamed up with Keyhole Kate.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. She's a goer. Number 11, Richard the Lion. Richard the Lion.
I'm going to
False.
say true.
False.
V.
False.
False. Made that one up. Number 12, Captain Curly's Boomerang.
Sorry.
Ooh,
I reckon.
Captain
I reckon,
Curly.
I reckon that's false. I reckon that's false.
I think it's true.
I'm going to go true as well.
False. Made that one up. Quite proud of that one. Number
It was
13.
the Captain Curly bit. It just sounds too Tony Esmond.
Number 13, Julius Sneezer.
True.
Julius Sneezer.
True.
True, that is true.
If it's
Okay,
if it's
true.
not, we're stealing that.
Yeah,
and
it
we're
ran
we're
from
using it. So
1946 to 1949. I think they need to bring that one back.
yeah.
Number 14, Dick's Magic Kettle. Dick's Magic Kettle.
Oh,
It's good
Is
job we got
magic
it right, and it wasn't Kettle's magic. Well,
I'll go
I think
true.
it's,
Guys,
false, I reckon.
I reckon true.
it is not true. I made it up.
Oh.
Dick's Magic Kettle.
Yes.
Number 15, Whiskery Dick. Whiskery Dick.
Whiskery dick. Oh, my God.
Ooh.
Nobody go to Urban Dictionary because this is probably a horror show.
True. I'm going to go true.
I'm gonna go false.
I'm joined down on the true.
It is true. Ran from 1946 to 1948.
Wow.
Okay, 2 more left. Number 16, Big Chief Itchy Snitch.
That's your Xbox gamer tag, isn't it,
Yeah.
Tony?
Yes, if I knew what that was, it would be.
What was it again?
Big Chief Itchy Snitch.
Snitch.
I just wanted you to say it again. That's the best name I've ever heard. I think it's false, but I think that's amazing.
I think it's false.
I'll go true.
Yeah, it is true. Ran
Oh
from
my
1982 to 1983. Okay, and the final one, Marvo the Wonder Chicken. Marvo, the Wonder Chicken.
False.
False.
Okay, true.
It is true. Ran for
To speak contrarian.
20 years, 1990 to 2010. How the fuck do you come up with stories about Marvo, the Wonder Chicken, for 20 years?
What? How long did the other one run? You know, the
Big Chief Itchy Snitch.
Big Chief something snatch.
Just
What
1
was it?
year. Yeah.
So
Oh, it's
there's-
itching again.
Scores, we have Dan
Okay.
coming in at 7 in Lance place, followed by Tom at 8, and then Vince, the winner, at 10.
Yay!
Way. Well done.
Good scoring. There you go.
Sometimes with a game like this, you have to think psychologically. You've got to think about what Tony Esmond's thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
It's
one
a
of the,
dangerous place to be.
I remember there was, using the Viz knowledge, there was a kind of play on Keyhole Kate. And the last shot, she's obsessed with looking through keyholes, and she ends up looking through a keyhole and like gets shit in her eye because her dad's ring piece is on the other side.
Why is he shitting in the doorknob?
I think because she kept on doing it. So like he put his
Oh,
arse
right.
up to the
Oh
keyhole.
my-
So she looks
oh.
through.
That is awful. Was that one that actually like they drew the strip as well?
Yeah. That
Oh
was
my
like
God.
they did the whole strip. There's
You'd have
loads of
trouble pushing some of mine through a keyhole. I've got to be honest with you.
it doesn't really work when you think about it, but it makes
Yeah.
for a good joke.
Yeah, a rabbit could fire them if it was a good enough aimer. But, you know, it's only a little
Yes.
space, isn't it?
Nah,
Jesus.
that's amazing.
Oh,
There you go,
I'm
it's fun,
honestly
wasn't it?
surprised that a lot of those like lasted past a single issue.
I know.
Yeah. Even get into like a year, you think like, good lord, what are they? Yeah. Once you got past first year, big Chief Itchy Snitch.
The first year of Itchy Snitch.
Oh, it's still itching.
Fucking...
Put it on the back page now. It's getting a bit boring. You know, it's a bit like that, isn't it?
Move that
God.
teacher's walrus up. That stuff's gold.
Yeah. Oh, he's a walrus again.
Our
He's a-
teacher's a
who's-
walrus.
With that one, is the teacher always a walrus or does he turn into a walrus?
I don't know how it works. I'd love to
Come
say
on,
I'd read
let's
it.
look,
but I
let's look
can't,
into
yeah.
this, people.
Richard
Come on.
Chief will be able to tell us, won't he? He'll know.
He knows
He's a
everything.
big fan of
Richard.
walruses.
Was Face Ache in the Beano or the Dandy? That was a good one.
I can't remember.
I
I'll
think
put
that
it
was
back
the
to
Beano. I think
Beano,
Face Ache.
that's a good
Yeah,
one.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Whereas
Yeah, nice one.
Dandy was sort of like that whole that vintage, because it still kept that sort of, to me in my head anyway. You know, you're saying all these like popular in the 1930s, 40s. It's that kind of humor for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Beano felt like more kids in the playground. You know.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
I
was
mean,
like,
Desperate Dan was the cover hero for years, wasn't he? For decades.
Yeah. Whereas if you think about it, Desperate Dan's a grown up, whereas with the Beano, it was Dennis the Menace, wasn't it?
It's true.
Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the cow pie with the two horns coming out of it?
Yeah, absolute classic. Yeah,
Cow
very
pie.
interesting because it kept that style, the style that I remember when I was a kid for the longest amount of time.
Yeah.
Obviously with modern art, it's very different now, isn't it? But
Grumpy Schoolmaster, Mr. Brown. Would you like to read it, Tom?
I'd love to, thank you. I'd love
Yeah.
to.
Here we go. You like this?
Let's see if I can just get the image up on the screen so everyone can see it. Hold on.
That's a good idea.
1 second.
well, everyone who's watching the video,
Yeah, Tom has found the origin of
Okay.
the walrus.
School teacher turned into a walrus by magic, as opposed to.
Yeah.
Grumpy schoolmaster Mr. Brown made the mistake of swallowing a magic pill that had been cursed by a gypsy, and for reasons entirely his own, wished to become a walrus. Despite his transformation coming true, he ended up trying to do his job, much to the consternation of his pupils, who were trying to avoid ending up in a freak show.
hang on, he chose to be a walrus himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what do you want to be, mate? You know,
Yeah.
lion. You know, what can you? Or walrus?
Yeah.
Could be Superman
Elephants.
if you wanted.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
no, walrus do.
Walrus, please.
Walrus. Obvious go-to, that one.
Yeah.
yeah,
And in the
He's
image,
the walrus of love. Maybe he was the original walrus of love.
yeah.
he's sitting on top of a broken crate of fish, which he's eating as he teaches.
I mean, that must
Yeah.
stink, though, isn't it?
He looks like a maths
Oh.
teacher to me.
Yeah. I presume they didn't delve into like his loss of humanity and how he kind of.
Inability to have sex.
I would say that maybe it's the origins for Kevin Smith's horrible film.
That's where it started to go wrong for me.
Yeah. I think it's one of those clear ones that when they drew the picture of the teacher, he had a big bushy moustache that made him
Yeah.
look like a walrus.
Oh, let's make him
Yeah.
a walrus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So, what you got
Yeah,
after that? So that's it.
Nothing. He
Yeah.
looks
What
like a
else you want to
walrus.
pitch, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's make him a
My
walrus.
teacher is a walrus. Oh, my hairdresser is a lion. What else? What else you got?
What else
Oh,
do
the
you
bloke
wanna
who works
pitch,
in the
Luke?
fruit and veg shop is a mouse.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Milkman's a pigeon.
I tell you what, I mean,
My
this
ninja
sounds
is a
like,
pigeon.
this sounds like the pitch meetings for a Netflix series these days. Fucking hell.
Or my cozier book. Ooh.
Just got two big dartboards and you just got like jobs on one hand, animals on the other, and just all throw
yeah.
the darts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comic strip.
My
bingo.
dentist is a sloth. Cool. Okay.
Get on with it. Go
This
draw that.
root canal is going to take forever.
Yeah.
You can't hold things with these weird claws.
Practically right.
Having a wank's a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh,
Fucking hell.
my
Very
God.
tantric. Like
God.
Sting. You've got to feel for Sting, right? Like he probably just said it
doesn't.
once. No, he doesn't.
Stinging his lovely wife, Trudy.
Why? Do you think he listens?
I know
I'm
his
just-
nephew. I know his nephew.
See?
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you a story later.
7 degrees of separation.
There you go.
What?
Good.
What to this show?
Yeah.
I mean, you think
Everyone's connected to us somehow.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
if not,
purely
there's a
'cause the
legally
it-
binding agreement, we're not allowed to mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the next fun game? We've got another
well,
fun game.
We do have another fun game. We've got.
God, this is the games week, is
It
it?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We thought the.
Like,
you thought
it's like the last day
Oh.
of term. Bring your games in.
I'm just going to bring in like a TV strapped down to a desk, and we can all watch Shrek. No,
Oh, you're young. Yeah. We watched the
we-
Sweeney movie.
Oh, I was at my mother-in-law's house for Christmas, and we watched Shrek the musical, and that's 2 hours I'm not getting back.
Oh, mate.
Cool.
Why would you do that?
My sister-in-law just wanted to watch it. She just had a real thing for watching Shrek the musical, and the only thing I was watching for was that moment in their eyes where they saw the look of the camera, and like I was in Juilliard for years for this.
Yeah,
Here
I
I
know.
am.
Yeah.
Here I am dressed as Shrek.
I
Yeah.
watched that Elf the musical. That was a bad one.
Oh,
Fucking
mate,
hell, because we
fuck
knew
me.
someone in it. Yeah, God, awful. Yeah,
So you would say it was bad for your elf?
I watched Venom 2 for the third time last night.
Oh,
It's terrible. 6 hours of my fucking life ain't going to get back.
bad toe.
Yeah.
Oh,
a
it
clown
could be.
show.
It could be like watching that musical that they have in the Hawkeye TV series.
Oh
Fucking hell.
God.
That's
God.
prime
That's-
example of why I hate musicals.
That's really well observed, that was. I was
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Because the way Hawkeye's watching it is exactly what I would be.
My face.
the
would
fact
be-
he takes out his hearing aid. So yeah. Great.
Great show. But anyway,
The next game we've got.
The next thing we've got is talking of musicals. We've got Reach
Oh.
for the Stars.
oh, of
Our
course, yes.
favourites.
Now, last time, feel free to play. Well, please play along at home, and we hope you did with the Dandy quiz. But previously, whenever Tom's gone, we've got a semi-regular. I think every time Tom comes on, this is going to be
Yeah,
very
but we
regular.
like him to do
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
and we
it's
bully
actually-
him to doing it.
Yeah,
It doesn't say that much bullying,
It's
frankly.
Reach for the Stars, which I'm not going to put the S Club 7 music in because we'll probably have
Copyright.
Yeah. But what is this all about, Tom?
This
Well,
is a game of someone else's devising that I scour Amazon and I look at comics that we've all read, we're all aware of,
Yeah.
and I look for the sort of
So
the
everyone should know this. It's not
I
one
like
of
the way
those.
it's like every day scouring Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
Just
go.
down the mines, and I look for the 2 to 3 star reviews because that's where madness lies, right?
That's
Because
for the golders.
You're right.
Yeah.
exactly
One
because-
star is just someone who's upset because he didn't
Yeah.
arrive in the post.
Yeah.
Or
But
someone,
2 stars.
someone that's just trying to get.
Yeah.
and like 5
Really.
stars are jizzing themselves over the covers, you know, like it's,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
the free stuff. When someone's taking the effort to review something on Amazon for 2 to 3 stars, that's really where the magic lies.
Yeah. I
There
agree.
is a bonus part of this quiz.
Oh,
There is a theme connecting all of them. There are actually 2
okay.
themes connecting the recommendations.
Okay.
So
This is
can,
quite
can you
tough
guess
last
the
time.
theme? It was, yeah, it was tough last time.
There are 2 themes. The one I think you'll be able to guess. The second, we'll see. We'll see if you can.
So
pick
the
up.
game is Tom reads out the review, the 2 or 3 star review,
Yep.
and then we've got to guess the title
Exactly. Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We ready?
I'm poised.
Cool.
Ready as I've ever be.
Our
right, yeah,
first
yeah.
Born
Give
ready.
it a go.
Antone, 2 stars, no interest. Reviewed in France of the 8th of September 2019. Beautiful, but I can't take any more of the supposedly smart storytelling. Don't buy. 3 people found it helpful.
Oh,
I love that little bit, that bit at the end. 3 people found this
It's
helpful.
helpful.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Ooh, close, but no cigar.
Oh, Swamp Thing.
Right kind of, in the right kind of region.
I would go for that Mr. Miracle one, the Tom King one recently. Is that
Bingo.
complete?
Spot on.
Nice.
Absolutely spot on. Well done. Can I just give you my bonus round for this? Because
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. You've kind of, right. From Fatima, 3 stars. Not so miraculous. Found the story hard to follow, but it could be getting it led, but I never really got to the point. Graphics great, but I won't really say there's any substance to it. 4 people found it helpful.
Yeah, I find that helpful. Thanks, Fatima.
I think on that night, Fatima laid in bed, like smiled to herself, nodded, and then turned the light off and went to sleep, knowing that it was a a good day.
Happy with her day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Job well done.
Job well done.
2019, that took 2 years for that to come to fruition for her, but I'm pleased that we are, bringing it full force.
Applauding her work.
Yeah.
Ready for the next
People
one?
moan about not getting credit. These people on
I know,
Amazon
yeah.
need the credit for stuff they do, don't
Yeah,
they?
it's not all about the new stuff. We discover stuff every week on this show that sometimes is quite a few years old. So there you go.
Okay.
But I'm
Well done.
Fatima. She's our guest next week.
Number 2.
Not
Yeah.
so awesome. That's really sad.
We'll get a fucking review like that. I know we will.
Zell. 3 stars. Been there, read that before. United States, 8th of June, 2018. Unimpressed. This is an average storyline. I've seen and read many similar stories of this type. Just change the location and other characters, and there you go. I was hoping for a much better storyline.
Cool. That's a difficult one.
God.
Oh, mate.
That could be anything, couldn't it? Anything popular. Dark Knight Returns.
Ooh, okay.
Do you know what I was thinking?
We're in the right universe.
Yeah, I think as soon as you said it, I thought it was a Batman.
Killing Joke.
Okay. Should we keep going?
No, I am Batman: The Court of Owls.
Let's keep it. Let's keep
Let's
on
have
rolling.
another one. Let's have
Let's
another
keep on
one.
rolling. Dean Fulton, 3 stars. It looks a good story. Not a chance to read it yet, but looks as though it'll be a good story. 4 people found this out. Thank you, Dean. 4
He
people
works
found
in a
it
number
helpful.
of reviewing
4
sites,
people
I
found
read.
that helpful.
4 people found it helpful.
How did you find that in any way helpful?
3 stars. Haven't read it yet. It just looks good.
Hush.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to go for Batman White Knight.
I think I've maybe led you down the garden path here for the same universe, and you've all
Okay.
jumped on something.
Batman.
So
Okay.
we're DC.
Not-
it's a
DC.
It's a DC title.
DC,
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You
Is
got
it?
one more?
No, it's not. Fuck, it's not. Sorry, apologies.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, apologies. Sorry, that's my fault. My fault entirely. I was.
Have we got another clue?
There is a link to the first one.
Oh,
link to
it's
that.
not. Oh, The Vision.
Perfect. Exactly.
Yes.
Ah.
Get in. Yeah.
Right. And I just remember my bone. It's not particularly funny. I'll leave the bonus one off. That's fine. It's not massively funny. I wouldn't worry. Yeah.
So the theme is Tom King books.
The theme is Tom King books.
Get in. Look at that. Another
Nicely
point for
done.
Esmond.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tony will sleep well tonight. He'll nod,
Be nodding.
reach over,
Yeah.
turn the light off.
Look at my phone. Think can't wait for that podcast to go live tomorrow, so people know how
Smashed
clever I am.
You know.
So, next
Hang
one.
on a minute. I'm so pleased with myself. Go ahead, carry on.
That's okay.
Yeah.
He's live tweeting it. He's live.
The last one. It's a Tom King book, so I'll give you a hint where to start with.
Okay.
1 star by Dean Taunton. Shish, break out the cyanide. I have no idea.
Strange Adventures. Strange Adventures.
It's not Strange Adventures. I have no idea what the hell I just read. This is one of the most depressing comic series I've read so far. It could be
Omega Man.
perfect.
Yes. That's not
And
depressing. It's one of the few books of his that isn't depressing.
It's almost like as well. I was thinking, how many of his books do I still remember?
Bloody hell.
And then my final bonus one for Omega Man, just because it made me laugh. It's
Yeah.
a 4 star, which I don't normally go to 4 stars. By Madman Marvel. OMG, Amen! ! fuck you, honestly.
Yeah.
No, he's got some other stuff under there, but really, he jizzed himself on the title and then was left with it. Frankly, like
he's a proper good laugh at parties. I want to stand next to that bloke at the bar in a pub.
Did you guess the second theme?
The second theme.
Yep,
second
between all three
theme.
reviews. So linking them together.
They're all depressing.
Nope.
They're all from the same country.
Nope. No.
I don't know.
Different artists, different cover artists, same writer, different publishers. What can it be?
This is tricky, by the way. This is very tricky.
One's a team and one's single people.
Is it about the books themselves or the reviews?
Are they the same? Are they the same? They're all 12 issues.
No, it's the reviews themselves. I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Dean Thornton reviewed all of them.
Oh, right.
Basically, I was able to find this one guy who periodically reviews a load of King's work. I was able to like track him through the.
Is there a review on there that says it's like a cross between Doctor Who and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy at all?
Oh, probably.
I wonder who wrote that. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It's something meets something.
Yeah. Well done, you.
Nice one, Tom. Those fucking quizzes are fascinating.
I love those. I like those ones.
It's always, I don't know. There's just something about the sort of the 2 to 3 star mentality where there's, people are just so desperate.
The thing with those reviews as well, they're people that, for me, it's not because it's Tom King. There's no mention of, Tom King is doing that. Do you know what I mean? When you get like within the comics community, whether it be journalism or, the social media know-it-alls shouting in the vacuum, they're always like, oh, well, Tom King's work is so derivative of blah, 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 blah. Or they just jump on any old shit. But the thing you get with an Amazon review is these are people that have just bought it and they either like it or they don't like it. They may not write the best reviews, but they're very simply sort of like, didn't like this, going to say something about it.
Tell you what, sometimes it is with Amazon. They push you through a review after you've bought something. So when people say, oh, I've not even fucking read this yet, they've probably been asked for a review on the emails and they just thought, oh, I better do a review then. Do you know what I mean? If not
just don't do it.
I agree. Yes, there is that option.
There's a lot of fake reviews on Amazon, isn't it? I know they had a big push, so you couldn't review the same book from the same IP, 2 accounts, that sort of thing, because there's a lot of people fake reviewing stuff because it brings it up in the recommendation algorithm and stuff.
It makes sense because there's obviously a lot of money at stake. If your book gets lots of positive reviews, it gets pushed up. A lot more people are going to see it, hence a lot more sales.
Goodreads, all that sort of thing. It all pushes it to the front. Yeah.
Who do you get your recommends of books from for comics?
There's about 2 podcasts I listen to that I get them from, which is weird. Like us, we're an audio medium for a visual, a visual thing.
Like you guys, when you guys recommend books, I will go and check them out. When you say so, I that's like the sound of that. And I think sometimes our community as well.
Yeah, these days it's Instagram mostly for me now.
Okay,
that's what I see, because you get to see the art as well.
In terms of like not necessarily reviews, but like recommendations, it's almost exclusively word of mouth for me.
Yeah.
I'm always searching for stuff, just the stuff that I like personally, without anyone's input. Because also there's that whole. It's the same with music, discovering.
Same with films, man.
Yeah,
you can't believe the reviewers anymore.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just sort of, I just keep an eye out for the things that I think are cool, and if I like them, then I just pass the good word on. But it is it's stuff that I picked up on the show and stuff. Is normally because whether a guest talk about it or you guys have talked about it or anything like that. Is word of mouth from a trusted source goes far.
That's the only way I can do it. The thing is, like reviewing of fucking tech, movies, music, comics, books. It's all. Everyone is so incestuous with the business now. As a reviewer, I used to enjoy the reviewers who sat outside of the scene, and reviewed stuff and did it, with just an eye to the movie without having a friend who was a director or their mate did the cover for issue 3 or something. I think you've got to be out. The recommendations that come from those people are more likely to take a whiff.
I think a lot of the time, because it's a visual medium, I'm totally going on what looks cool. Because like you say, reviews are, for me, are very much like some people, and we've said it before, some people don't want to review anything badly because then they'll get taken off the a review list, which is terrible that companies will do that at the same time. If companies obviously want honest opinions, but also they don't want honest opinions because essentially they just want publicity for their work.
They want honest opinions if the comic's good. If the comic's not good, they don't want an honest opinion.
I think there's also times where you just get a real hankering for a thing. And every 6 months I might be like, I really want to read some Star Wars comics. And you just go find what Star Wars comics are out there, what people are in, what the community recommends or so. But
it's one of the good sides of Comixology and places like Comic House is you can see the art. So if I fancy art, because I'm on this manga rip at the moment, I'm after quite a specific style of art. I can go in and look at the first couple of pages, and that really helps.
You can kind of like, for me at least, we're going to focus a bit more on manga, but there's stuff I picked up in manga to go, I wonder what this is like. And I've seen the art style and it's like, that's not for me. That's not, I can kind of judge the story.
Never mind
by
manga,
the art.
That's what I'm like
Of
with
comics
in general.
I wonder if that's something we talked about, Dan, before, I wonder if that's something to do with the first few pages in a lot of new manga is colour. Colour now. And I wonder it's because obviously the first few pages they present on sites like Comixology is the colour. First three, the colour. So I wonder whether that's,
to be fair, that's
clever.
That's been gone on a long time.
Right. Okay.
A long time.
Right.
I'm sure like the old Akira books were like that. The first couple of pages, colour.
You had that in the UK weeklies, though.
Yeah.
Some strips the first 2 pages were full colour. And then
well, that'll be because people pick it up off the shelf, look at the first few pages in their colour. It's the same principle, I'm guessing.
Yeah. But it wouldn't necessarily always be like the beginning of the comic, though. I think there was some.
Well, Dread was always the middle pages of 2018 colour, wasn't it?
And I've like had some like battle like Stormforce comics where the Stormforce spread the first 2 pages of colour, but it's the third strip in the book. Do you know what I mean? It's I think they're going for that when, like you say, when people open it up. What are they?
I think it's because they're the popular strips. They gave them the colour. I think that's what happened. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, one day we'll do another review episode, I'm sure, or but because I know Dan, you had a question about it today on the WhatsApp group, didn't you? How do you turn a review down, etc.
It's a tricky one because someone got in touch and asked for a review. I'm not sure if they were listening to the show or not, but I started reading the book and the art was okay, not really my cup of tea, but I was like, I can't do this, man. It's just not.
I don't review things.
It's not stuff.
I just tell people I like this. You should check it out.
So that's where you and I differ, I think, Vince, isn't it? Because I do.
You do review things, but I'm not. I don't like. I know, like when you recommend stuff on this show, these are a lot that you have a lot of notes that no doubt go into your actual written reviews and stuff as well. And you think about how you're wording things. And sometimes I just have the book in front of me and I'm like, right, let's fucking go. I love the book. Let's just check this out. If I was going to try and review something, I'm going to sit down and write, and think.
You got to write notes. You got to think about it. You can't just
and there are some great reviewers out there. There are some great reviewers out there that do that. And we've talked about like getting feedback on our books and like saying, "Oh, I'm so glad they got it," and I understood. And I think when someone understands where you're coming from with a comic, the constructive criticism is easier. Do you know what I mean? You can take on board. Oh yeah, they're right. I should.
Yeah, that's what it should be about, mate. It's not meant. It's never meant viciously.
Yeah.
If you're saying, look, the storyline doesn't work here, or the lettering's bad, or whatever you're going to say. Yeah. I think I talked to Dave Robertson about this recently, and it's something he and I had a conversation about, and Mike Sadaka actually, and it's something doesn't matter as a reviewer. It doesn't matter whether you like it. Yeah, it should be. Is it good or not? There's a lot of good comics out there that I don't like, because they're not to my tastes, but it doesn't matter. Are they well made? Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
There's some of maybe something like the Sailor Moon kind of manga, that sort of thing. It's just not to my taste, but is it well made? And that's what you should apply yourself to. I think reviewers have got to learn. There's a big difference between I've heard someone say I don't review comics I don't like. Well, that doesn't matter whether you like it or not. Is it good or not? I like a lot of shit. I like Femforce and I like Puppet Master movies, but don't make them good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair play.
I
think what I was more considering is someone gave you a comic and said, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And you don't really have any relationship with them. You don't really know the person. Is it incumbent on you to kind of give up time or whatever? I find it hard to articulate this, but to sort of gauge them. Let's not say to them, "This really ain't up to snuff, man." Or you just say, "Oh, it's good, yeah, nice one," and then
often what I'll say to them often what I'll say to them, Dan, is I said, if you're sending it to me, I will give this an honest critique.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're just looking for promotion, then I won't bother. It's up to you, mate.
Fair play. I think maybe in the future I'll start saying shit like that.
But there's also an element of like, this is going to sound incredibly mercantile, but what's in it for you, Dan? Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I said.
If you're not doing reviews, as like Vince has said, right? You haven't got a blog, you haven't got your own page, you're not doing your own podcast, just reviews. If this part of the pod is not a review for you, then is it on you to do that?
Exactly. It's like a recommend. You've come across something you think other people would like, and then if this isn't, I'm not going to talk about it.
I've come like, especially to that portion of the show. If I haven't got anything that week, then I haven't got anything. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I read something, but I'm like, okay, would I recommend that to someone? Well, no.
I think the recommendation
doesn't mean I have to shout anyone out about it.
Yeah,
no. But I think the recommendation has to have a caveat. So, for example, you might like a certain kind of book, and you say, "I'd recommend this book." I won't recommend it to people who don't like, overt violence or sexuality.
You got to say.
But you've got a caveat by saying, look, this is a book that is quite violent. I like violence, so I'm recommending it to people who would like that sort of book. So there is a caveat you have to give, I think, as well for that.
Yeah, and I think that's down to the individual anyway. I mean, like if I'm talking about movies at work with people, I'll be like, I'll recommend it to you because I know you like this stuff, but I'm not going to recommend it to that person because they won't like it whatsoever.
I think what lies at the heart of both mine and your approaches is you've got to be honest about stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're not being honest, and if we're recommending a book that it isn't actually very good, somebody's going to spend some money on that on the back of our recommendation. I would feel bad about that.
Guilty, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to be sort of not contrarian to the honest part of it, but in terms of like not always knowing you don't like something is as valuable as knowing you do like something.
Yeah.
So in terms of like if you were like, I really didn't enjoy this for XYZ, that may be like, oh, that's exactly my jam, or okay, well I kind of like the comics Dan likes, and hence there's value in it. Exactly.
Yeah. So saying I don't like comics who've got tanks in, somebody might like a comic with a tank in it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I always find it a bit more difficult as well, giving someone critical feedback or constructive feedback on work that is completed as opposed to a work in progress. So if someone said to me, what do you think of this? And it was like a sketch in progress or a page in progress, or I could say, well, this works, this bit doesn't. When someone does like the finished article and say, right, this is as best it's going to be, I'm really happy with this has turned out, what do you think? And they go, well, that's good, but that's not so great.
I think you have to, I genuinely think, man, sorry to interrupt you, but I think you have to gauge why people are approaching you per case as on its own.
I think that has to be laid out before you go further.
Yeah. So come to you and because we get a lot of people saying, oh, could you promote our comic on the podcast? And we're like, well, not if we don't like it, my friend. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think people there's two kinds of people really: people who look for promotion and people who actually look for a proper review. And the latter is much rarer.
There used to be a website and a great Twitter account, but they've not run for years now. But they were called the Webcomic Police, and it was like they were like a police force that would go out and assess a webcomic and sort of say the pros and cons of it. But it was like a faceless website for the people who wrote for it. And I think the review went through like a committee, and they all kind of gave feedback on it, and it would give you the pros and the cons of it, no punches pulled, just straight. And I really enjoyed the reading it. There's other services online like the Bad Webcomics Wiki, which I think is pretty poisonous and toxic.
Yeah, it is.
But that kind of service where you can kind of like look at stuff and give it brutally honest.
Yeah, fair, honest, and constructive.
Fair.
Fair, honest, and constructive is the way you got to go with everything. I don't think you can go any other way. And this sort of nepotistic attitude towards comics at the moment, I think, is ruining the fact that people aren't seeing the faults in their own comics. In fact, some people have absolute meltdowns if you say one thing's wrong with their comic.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. I mean, those kind of skills, or that kind of learning, you should have got out of your system when you was a lot younger.
I pointed out some failures in somebody's comic 4 years ago, and they're still going on about it now.
Yeah, it's not.
Some people just can't take it.
Yeah.
It wasn't very nice, Tony, frankly.
He's just a wanker, Tony. That's
yeah. But like I said, if you don't want bad stuff to be said about your work, don't offer it up for opinions.
And don't put it in the world for sale. Do you know what I mean? I got to the point where I don't get free copies to review. I'll buy them. Because I don't put comics up for review. Well, you do because you're asking for people to take money for them.
You pay your price of entry by paying for it. You get the ability to offer up judgment. Have you ever received feedback or a review of your comic that's kind of stuck out for you, be it positive or negative?
Yeah, little lines in reviews have stuck with me where I've thought, in relation to criticisms, and not they've stuck with me in order. Like I remember I put a comic out years ago that had some terrible spelling in it, and it still kicks me in the gut every time I think of it, because I remember the reviewers pointing out the spellings and me going, "Oh no, what did I do that for?" And it's made me put them through proofreaders now.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. You do learn from them, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Cycling back a little bit, I think one of the difficult things with the situation you guys particularly are in is, regardless of what we think, it's a smallish community, right? In terms of everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you don't upset someone, man.
Yeah, exactly. And if not, even if you don't know everyone, you know someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
And if you go like, okay, this comic isn't really my cup of tea because of, it's just not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit too childish. There's a few spelling errors, and I think the art could be improved. That's going to upset someone, and it's going to upset someone who you might be having a Pizza Express with at Thought Bubble.
Yeah,
and like Pizza Express.
And they're about to, I mean, they'll serve you pizzas after 8 o'clock. But and you're thinking yourself like, oh, we're about to share, big hot and fuck, back to the joke. About to share hot and spicy, and
I know where you come from, mate. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think back in the day when I didn't know so many people, I'd be more willing to kind of like dunk on people. But now it feels really fucking bad just to be.
I mean, I think about it a lot, and I think the only place to go with it is to be honest.
Yeah, they can't
don't be nasty, don't be overly complimentary. You get problems with both, actually. Some people I've been very complimentary about a comic won't fucking leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? And some people I've been critical of their comic won't fucking stop going about it on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you just got to be absolutely clearly honest. If people take it badly, it's on them, man. It really is.
That's why I quite like that idea of like a faceless reviewing.
Well, I get that a lot because I don't put my face on the internet.
Yeah.
And people will turn up at the table and stuff like that, and then they'll realize who I am. And I find that's a better way of doing it, because at least they come over and speak to you. Do you know what I mean? And they realize you're not some monster. Because you said the artwork in their comic, didn't make sense or something. It's a weird one, man. It's a heavy burden to review comics, because I don't think you can be part of the scene to review them. You've got to be slightly out of it. I wouldn't review any of your comics, for example, because you're my mates.
It's kind of a bit of a strange one, that, isn't it?
Fluff each other.
I'd promote them, I'd promote them in a post and stuff, but some of my friends, I won't review their.
Because if you said, "Oh, it's fucking amazing," everyone say, "Well, he's obviously going to say that."
Yeah,
and
if you
sometimes
said, "Oh, it ain't," not you guys, but some other people I know.
Yeah,
it's not always perfect.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is you say to some critics these days, "Oh, it wasn't perfect, but I really enjoyed it." Suddenly they got their back up.
Yeah.
Did you think your comic was perfect? I'm sorry. Not even what I listened to an interview with Dave Gibbons the other day. Not even Watchmen is perfect.
What room to grow?
And,
exactly.
And sometimes I also worry about the people that. I say I worry. That's an extra. I don't really care. But
if you want to worry, Vince, go for it. Worry, man.
Thanks, Tom. I worry about so much. The ozone layer, man. Where's it going? No. When I think sometimes there can be, and this is just from someone occasionally popping their head online, it's sometimes all you hear is a wave of backslapping, and everyone talking about how wonderful everyone is, which is great. It's good. It's obviously good to hear that. But if you're constantly told from the outset how amazing you are,
created a beast,
what happens the time when someone goes, "Nah, this isn't any good"? That if you're perfect from day one, it will crush you on day 100 when someone doesn't like something.
But it will crush you when you actually work for a proper editor who goes, "Listen, mate, this needs some work."
Yeah.
And you go, "Well, I've been told by Broken Frontier that everything I do is perfect." Well, it ain't.
Yeah.
It's, and that's the thing. It's having that. And there's certainly those people that are amazing from the get-go.
Some people who are brilliant.
That are also willing to sort of say, "I'm getting better. I want to get better." That there's lots of people that are just willing to improve with everything, and they rightfully get the credits. But sometimes it can't. I think creating something, no matter what it is in the world, it isn't a everyone love me exercise. It should be I want to.
I don't care.
I want to create something I'm proud of, and if people get it, that's wonderful. And that's what happens normally. That if you're creating it for other people, if you're creating it just to be told how great you are, or for it to extend your social media presence, or to get a fucking Netflix animated show, what happens when someone says, "Well, actually, your third book isn't as good as the next two," then normally those people just go, "Well, what the fuck do you know?" And they turn into monsters.
They do, man. Well, I think it's what Dan says occasionally is if you make a comic for everyone, it's going to be for nobody. You can't do that. You've got to make a comic for yourself.
Or your audience, whatever that audience.
I actually hope that people hate my comics. There's some people out there who are honestly, there's some people out there who are so fucking stupid.
They will.
I hope they don't get it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's
if
people
if they like my comic, I'm throwing my comic in the bin. Some people, do you know what I mean? Genuinely,
you literally won't be able to please everyone, and to operate under that illusion or delusion that what you create is going to be loved by everyone is nuts.
Yeah.
Can I just with that idea that comics can't be for everyone, in terms of like your comic can't be everyone's best comic. This something manga does incredibly well in terms of like it separates out different groups in terms of like shoujo for young boys, shoujo for girls. So and like you find like and they make comics for those groups of people because they're different audiences and they enjoy different things.
Exactly, man. Not every novel is for everyone.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's how it works. This is just a delivery method.
Apart from the Bible.
It's a medium, Yeah.
But I think that industry is also it's obviously had years and years and years, and it's refined it, and it's kept its popularity. It's just risen, and it's just become a way of life. So therefore, they can go into it. If there's the business side of it that looks at the metrics and the analyzers and stuff, they've got some healthy numbers to go with.
Yeah.
So I think the problem with a lot of Western comics is sometimes the numbers are so weak source that sometimes you're building foundations on something that isn't as solid as you think it is.
So I was doing a bit of reading on this, and this is a long story, but I'll get me back to your point, Vince.
Yeah, go for it.
Quite often in manga, they'll do a popularity poll on the characters, and I couldn't work out why they were doing it. And I was like, why are they doing this popularity poll? And the answer is simple. One, they get an idea of the people who are reading it, because they've all got to send in a postcard of like who their favorite character is, so they get like a total readership. But they also get an idea of who the most popular characters are, so they refine what they're doing based off the audience feedback.
Yeah, they used to do that with 2000 AD.
Yeah, exactly.
The first 500 issues of 2000 AD, you would have like top 5 characters, and they would use it's pre-internet, I know, but the thing is, you can't trust the internet these days. But they would use that to judge who was the most popular character. You talk to Pat; he talks about it all the time. Regularly, and Mac 1 was the most popular character. You just
if you're a fan big enough to like write in a postcard to tell the publication that you're a fan that the publication will give a shit about.
Yeah,
and
that's true. And you bought it as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Carry on, Tom. Before
I was going to say the magazines are using this all the time to basically like refine what they have in them to be like, oh yeah, this is doing really well. We're getting loads of big numbers in for people writing in saying they really love Bimbus the Clown, and Bimbus the Clown keeps on getting published. It's basically, and it's also saying like even you put that with a backdrop of like we're separating out the comics by age group and gender and what people prefer, and then hey, you've got like this self-fulfilling prophecy and this vicious circle of growth.
Yeah.
Here's the devil's advocate question then. Do you think, obviously that obviously works brilliant for that audience, and it just continues to grow and evolve. And one of the beautiful things about it is I'm hearing about a brand new series which is a fresh story or a fresh character pretty much every time. Like that people will talk about One Punch Man one year, and then they'll talk about like Demon Slayer. Is it Demon Slayer? That's
yeah.
Right, yeah. But these are very different. They're not spinning off or anything. These are all fresh stories. However, when it comes to whether it be the UK market or the American market and stuff like that, do you think the legacy of a character can be a crutch? But by that I mean, let's take a Dread for instance. Please, any 2000 AD fans, don't send me any mail because I won't read it. No, but I mean and this is just a generalization. But obviously, Dread, whenever you think 2000 AD, that's usually the top one. But rather than pushing and creating new things, it's just sort of like just giving the same sort of thing every time. Just, you're getting used to the same diet of meat and potatoes, meat and potatoes, meat and potatoes. You know, even if sometimes there's a little bit of spice or someone's put some cheese on the potato, lovely, but it's still meat and potatoes every time. After a while, you're going to get bored of that diet. And if you've been eating meat and potatoes, even for 30 years, sometimes you want something. There's another flavor. For me, I will say this, having not read 2000 AD properly, but over the past 20 years, not 20 years, probably 10 years, legacy characters. I hear about great stories that are being told, you know, different sort of sci-fi tales and like get collected and stuff. But I don't hear so much about the legacy characters, the new legacy characters that can move forward. How do you guys feel? And this is the same with the States as well.
Yeah,
we're fed on a diet of Avengers and Batman. That's what the community is. And yes, with Batman, you've got the Batman family, but DC's pretty much mostly that. And do you think in some ways, by having so much of the same thing, it's become a little stale?
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think it has. I think where that dynamic, I think you're right, certainly around the big two, it has become stale, and the attempts at introducing new characters haven't taken.
No.
You know, with various degrees of success. But I think where I see it changing slightly is, and I'd actually think this is the sort of BD, French Belgium approach, is with Image Comics. So Image Comics have had some huge hits, you know, Saga, Walking Dead, a few other things, where they're almost creating a story for a certain amount of time and then walking away from it.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the model that a lot of us would prefer, rather than what was it at one point? It was like 50 Bat Family books out in a month or something.
Yeah. I think they're kind of like Vince has alluded to there, like they're hamstrung by the legacy. And so when they see like a new audience, for instance, Marvel, rather than sort of like, right, we're going to come up with a new line, or we're going to make a new character, and it's going to be completely out of nothing to do with superheroes, but it's going to serve that audience. What they do is kind of try to retrofit a current character or a popular character to fit that audience, and invariably it ends up upsetting the audience who like or read that character anyway.
Yeah,
but nobody's talking about the death of Superman that happened a month ago. Nobody's talking about it.
No one.
It has happened in Action Comics, and nobody's mentioned it.
I just don't think people care anymore. T. They're just like,
you might be right, man. You might.
I think we've just had enough of this.
Whatever. Yeah. They're calling it Death of Superman 2.0, aren't they? But I mean, it's just ended with him looking apparently like he's died. So I don't think the next issue is out yet.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It's just maybe everyone's a bit lethargic about it all now. They don't really. It's just, you're right. It's like, here we go.
And there's a certain conditioning to reading comics as well. Certainly like the bigger publishers and stuff. You know,
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, it is very much. You know, we know what we like. We know what era of comics we read and we enjoyed, and we want more of that. That's natural that we want more of that.
I mean, so sorry to interrupt, man. Sorry,
no, go for it. Go on, man.
I was just going to say a slight tangent with. I've been on a real Star Wars kick recently. I don't know why. I've just been really enjoying it. And I was looking into the comics, and I was reading a lot of Dr. Alfaro, which is a great series. And it's a great series. I really enjoyed, especially the early stuff. It's really good. And that seems to be a case of like, they've got this big universe, and they know they really can't do anything with the main 4 or 5 because all their stuff's sort of set in stone.
Okay.
And instead, let's create a separate character. And then she has it like, and you can almost just, I mean, they've obviously tried to do this with Dredd, but like, you've got that big universe of which has been going, but it shows something different. You know what I mean? Like, shows a different side of it in terms of like, I don't know if Dredd's
that's an example of one of the more recent characters, especially with Star Wars as well. That's an example of one. I haven't read any, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah,
I've heard
it's really good. But every time they try and jump back to like a pre-existing character, Boba Fett, it's crap.
I'll be honest with you. I think Dredd is fairly consistent. There's a lot of talk to any 2000 AD fan, you'll get 4 hours of moaning, and I'm a little bit like that. But Dredd's the consistent one in there for me. It's more likely to be okay than the rest, and you regularly do get Dan Cornwell or Chris Weston even on it, and you think, okay, it's a little bit of an event. And the thing about Dredd is more interesting because he does age in real time. Which is an interesting area, I think. But I would be lying if I said it hadn't got stale at certain points. But there are some. Obviously, a lot of 2000 AD fans, me included, are led by the nose by nostalgia occasionally. Yeah, you know.
I think Western comics audiences very much are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fucking collecting old comics I used to get when I was a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're always looking for those old comics.
That's why they sell so many hardbacks and omnibuses and artist editions and Epica collections and stuff like that.
I find frustrating is like when there's the comics that have got no consequences, they become inconsequential, because if they're going to introduce some radical new thing that's going to shake up the title, like Spider-Man, everyone's going to forget Spider-Man. Like Mary Jane's going to forget she was married to him, and no one remembers Spider-Man. And then 12 months later, that's all undone. We're back to the status quo, and that just rinse, repeat. You're like,
yeah, there's a lot of rinse, repeat going
just
on.
like, well, kind of, this becomes a jumping off point or something. You're just like, I've done my time there, and try and find greener pastures.
Exactly like Tony just said with Death of Superman 2.0.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
Well, if you look at Devil's Reign, which is the news story that I know Dave mentioned last week, that's basically Civil War.
Yeah.
So they're outlawing superheroes in New York.
Didn't you mention, Tony, like someone who Mark Miller, when he came up with Civil War, that was like they've never been able to move past that.
I think you're right, man.
Story
that's
concept.
A great moment. Yeah.
It's kind of fucked everything up, because like they don't seem to be able to move past. We've got to engineer a situation where heroes have got to fight heroes, and then
that's the problem everywhere. And I'll touch a little bit of this in my recommendation, because there's a bit of a devil's advocate question in my recommendation later. Is, are we just concentrating on heroes and we're not really creating any great villains anymore?
No.
Everyone's like, even in the Avengers movies, he was like, Thanos was kind of okay, wasn't he? He was an all right bloke, and he went to be a farmer and stuff. You're like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
It's,
I have many problems with what they did with that character, but I think it's my fear for a lot of villains is people are afraid for them to be villains anymore.
Yeah, they are, man.
It's one of those. Oh, you have to understand the trauma behind it.
I wrote a little bit about this on the patrons, but
we were just at work the other day. Like we did the whole sort of like the quarterback, the Sunday quarterback. Oh, if you were going to cast a Batman film, or if you go cast Batman and Joker, that's that sort of thing. And part of the conversation someone said about finding out how they come to be, and I was like, no, I don't want to know how a character like Joker needs to be. He's a fucking force of nature, and he should be terrifying because of that. I don't want to know why Wolverine is the way he is because you fucked him, and I'm just done with Wolverine.
As soon as you tell that story, he becomes like a million times less interesting.
I love jumping into a story and just saying, who's this character? What's going to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that about?
It's that. I think the human brain, the way it deals with the unknown is fascinating, because it's like with like monsters and heroes, it works like this. When you don't know where the alien came from, it's infinitely terrifying. When they describe it, you're disappointed. With a hero, I did not know where Wolverine came from. It was fascinating, because in my mind, there's a million possibilities of what he's done, where he's been, why he is the way he is, but I don't need to know it. They told me, and the magic's gone. Once you find out how the magic works, do you like the magic trick so much?
Yeah.
For me personally, no.
Once you stop being able to hang a towel on it, done it.
I was sort of thinking with the thing with the villain is it was all about like you got to understand something happens to the hero and villain. It could be exactly the same starting incident that kind of like jets them forward into their life, but the villain learns the wrong lesson and takes the wrong moral choice from what's happened to him or her. Do you know what I mean? Like the Punisher's family gets mowed down. He goes out and starts taking it out on criminals generally. Someone else might be taking a different moral decision. The where the Punisher works, what it appeals to a lot of people, is because of the fact that who doesn't have that kind of urge for getting their own back and making sure everything's right. And the whole problem with the villains are making them too sympathetic, and I can understand why he's doing this. I can understand why he's done that, but he's got to be they've got to be monstrous and horrible and nasty. They've done it wrong.
Everyone's afraid to write Nazis anymore, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, that's an easy go to the Nazis, isn't it? Because there's a clear line. They're fucking bad guys.
You take that, I mean, Nazis, but just like what was the Red Skulls? What are they? Hydra. That was Nazism, right? So if you take that, and if Hydra do something that is unforgivable, well, I mean, we're talking proper villain shit, no holding back, no pulling punches, they do something horrible, Marvel are going to get shit for it. If bad guys do bad things,
It's mad.
at
The
the
world's gone
moment,
mad.
people are like, that's horrible. Why is that in there? Because they're villains and we're not.
Yeah. We're not
Right.
writing about ourselves.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think
gone mad.
sometimes any sort of a lazy go-to, I say lazy, I don't want to, I'm not sweeping generalizations as always, I do every week. But it's like, what can a bad guy do that's bad? Oh, they'll kill one of the heroes. I don't no, they can do something else.
Yeah.
Because
Killing a member of the public is a lot worse than that.
it is. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? But it is one of those, you know, if you kill a hero, oh, shocking, but they're going to be back in 6 months. Never mind the hate mail that some fanboy is going to send them for 6 months. In 6 months, the character's going to be back and we'll forget about it, and it'll be. Whereas, what happens if you kill the people that don't have a fan base, the people that could possibly stay dead? That's more shocking, isn't it? Surely that's a. I mean, let's not forget that one of the things that kicking off Civil War was the explosion that not just killed a bunch of heroes and I forgot the name of that villain that just blew himself up.
Nitro, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nuke. Nuke, that's it, Nuke.
Yeah. But didn't he take out a whole neighborhood of innocent people?
Yeah, there was a school.
And there's also a commentary on the media in that as well, because it was being filmed, wasn't it? Which I thought was an interesting sign as well.
Yeah. So that but that was one of those, you know, catch your breath in your throat moments, because it's not just someone on a, you know, couple of X-Men and the Shi'ar fighting some Brood or whatever or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's something with stakes.
Yeah, good.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah,
we started off from reviewing, and then we went we can't.
Yeah, went into
write
this.
good.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
all
right.
Villain's motive is understandable, but you got to be careful when.
I mean, Dan, you've written some fucking awful villains, and it just like I mean, anyone that's read Vanguard along with me will know that there's been times where you put us through the emotional ringer, partly because it's a weekly webcomic as well. So
it's fun to write the people who are absolute shit. So
yeah. And there has to be that, but there's also that sort of, these people are horrible, just you wait, because it's so much more satisfying when the awful people get their comeuppance.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be genuinely satisfying. It shouldn't be like they disappear in a panel. No.
But you know what it's like? It's like villains in real life. You know. Yeah. You know, the real villains of the world, you know, don't really have that many fucking reasons for you to. I don't want to see them with their cat, you know, something like that. You know, it's not. Yeah.
I don't know. It's that kind of like jokey sort of. Oh, he's a bit of a one, and he like Harley Quinn villain. And then when you actually like get to see real fucking horrible people in reality and read about what they've done or see what they've done, it's absolutely, there's no way you could be on that person's fucking side. It's disgusting.
And a good villain will stick in your mind. You see a good villain in a comic, and the things he says are in a movie or in a TV series. Everyone's seen Deadwood, haven't they?
I haven't.
God.
You know the bit. I won't ruin it, but the bit where he fights, there's the big fight, and the bad guy, and it goes, "I am gonna kill you," and you fucking feel it because he's such a horrible bastard. You know. Yeah, we need to take that time to build these people up. I don't want to build them up to be understandable. They've got to be villains. Yeah, you know, they've got to be a threat.
I watched it the other day, but Bricktop in Snatch.
Yeah, he's great.
He's fucking horrible. He's horrible. He just wouldn't want to be in the same bloody postcode as the man.
No,
horrible.
So I was kind of thinking about. I was thinking what you guys saw. I was thinking about Galactus, who is a villain, but he's more like a force of nature.
Yeah, you get this school of people who go, "Oh, he's not really a villain because he's just acting on his own, you know, nature. He's just doing what he's, you know, born to do and stuff." You know, what he kills fucking millions of people and eats planets. Oh, he's probably a good guy then.
Billions.
Not only that, he chooses to. Like,
exactly.
A great white shark that accidentally, that eats some. I mean, you get some bastard sharks, but for the most part, is an accident because it's just in their nature. If you're Galactus, you've picked something. Said to Silver Surfer, "Does this one taste like jam?" Yes, it does. Lovely. I'm eating it then.
Yeah.
You think Kafarga was a good guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
But what do you say? Like, if like, oh, we wouldn't be able to keep you alive, but every day you stay alive, we're going to kill 1,000 people. Yeah. You can live as long as you like. Would you carry on doing that?
I would say, can you visit Croydon first?
Yeah. Start Croydon and work out. When you hit New Addington, tell me, and I'll fucking eat a bullet.
Mind you, have you been to New Addington? Fucking hell. Yeah.
I've got to say, Universe does this really well. Is the 40K universe.
Yeah.
Everyone's awful.
Everyone's
No,
awful.
Everyone's
There's
awful, yeah.
there's no good guys.
There's no good guys. And
Mega City's a bit like that, to be fair. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Mega City's like that. Yeah.
But anyone who tells you like, oh no, the Space Marines are good. No, they're not.
They're not.
terrible.
They're terrible.
They're
Yeah.
awful.
They sacrifice like thousands and thousands of people a day to keep the Emperor alive.
Are you reading that comic, Tom?
The
Space Marines comic? Yeah.
No, I'm not actually. No,
I've heard it's all right, you know.
Yeah, I think you recommended it, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. V read the first one, didn't you?
Is that? Yeah. That was a fantastic comic. I need to get.
Is it one Jose Rip? Did he draw some of it?
Yeah, he did. I think it was him because I'll just look it up actually because it was.
That looked all right actually.
It was. It's a phenomenal, but also phenomenally accessible, which I think you need.
Yeah.
Because if you.
I'm scared of going into that world because of all the novels and the games and stuff like that.
And also the novels are like they're fucking brain damage novels. Like if you drop one on someone's head, that's killing them.
Old school sci-fi, aren't they?
Started I didn't know too much about it, and I thought I'm going to get into this, and I started on that Black Library, the audio books. I started listening from the Horus Heresy for like about 10-15 books, and like after the first one, man, I was fucking in. Just like the story was just absolutely gripping.
People must feel that when they hear you and me talk about Dune, though, or when we all talk about Dune, because it's the same in it, Yeah,
I can't wait for the fucking Blu-ray with the cut scenes and stuff in it. And then I was thinking, when they do the screening of like both films back to back, would I go and see that? And I'll be like, of course I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm almost scolding myself mentally for even thinking.
I'm going to buy a man nappy and sit in the cinema and watch it all. Yeah.
Shit yourself 10 minutes in just to set the precedent.
Yeah.
I've got to say that the 40k fans are very like, if you want to meet people into their lore, 40k fans flipping love it.
Right.
So there was a joke about a tiny bit about Space Marines they're taken like 12 years old and they're turned into Space Marines. Like they take children.
The Sardaukar.
Yeah, basically same sort of thing. They take 12-year-olds, turn them into Space Marines, but they get chemically castrated.
Right.
And someone made a joke saying, "Oh, they're probably all virgins because they're all taken at 12 years old and then chemically castrated and turned into Space Marines." And like there was a big thread underneath of like, no, the Space Wolves are taken at 16 and they have sex all the time. You think, fuck, wasn't that?
Really written by someone who never gets any sex.
I love the voice.
Like that wasn't the point, right? It was just
that bloke is knee deep in clunge, isn't he? The bloke who wrote that, fucking knee deep in it. Yeah.
I wonder if they did take that idea from the Sardaukar and the fact that that they get like the best sort of Space Marines off of like these hell worlds that are absolutely fucking horrible to live in, and so to kind of survive, you are,
mate. You got to read that one-off Boom comic on the Sardaukar. Fucking brilliant.
Okay,
yeah, really good. Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be in one of the collections because it came out around the same time as the usual series. Was it about issue 10 or something?
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I've got to get the second volume to that one. Tumble.
I think that's out actually. I think it's out already.
Okay,
Yeah, good stuff.
Once we get through January and the barren months. The
Warhammer 40,000 I read was Marnius Calgar, which was a 5-issue series from Marvel that I haven't read.
Readable, isn't it?
Yeah,
5 issues.
And it's a collection.
Is that Kieran Gillen?
Kieran Gillen. Is he written another one? There's one called Sisters of Battle, which is just finished as well. Who wrote that one?
I'm going to put it on the list.
Torren Gronbeck.
Oh, Gronbeck.
Comicsology.
Yeah, I always like when you get the people saying, "Oh, why aren't there women in the 40k universe? Oh, what in the grim darkness where there's only war and misery and suffering? I've got to have women in it though. Oh, okay.
Mind you, sounds like some women I know.
Fucking hell. And
I've got don't care one way or the other if you have women in it or not, but it's just like this horrible storyline where everyone's in.
Yeah,
I want to be in it too. Well, you want to live in a cave and get bummed? Yes.
It's fucking grim
representation, damn it.
But yes, it was Jason Burrows. That was who did.
Oh yeah, I like his stuff. Yeah. Although he does still have me commission.
Was that Magnus Calgar?
Marnius Calgar, yeah.
Perfect.
1 to 5.
Kindly.
And also, I mean, for me, who didn't, once again, as worried about God, but how am I going to dip into
I never worry about God.
It's really it's a good cinematic entryway into that sort of universe. So there you go.
Do you know what?
Good.
I know it's probably bad form to talk about other podcasts while you're on the podcast, but
that's right.
I mean, not a bad episode in terms of like good entry comics into universes.
Yeah, Yeah, into universes. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think it's certainly something that is like. I mean, with manga, it's like, oh god, it's just terrifying. There's 140 volumes of this. Where do I start? And with a Marvel universe, the lore is just so murky.
Just as
Where
bad,
do you
man.
start?
Just as bad.
Yeah.
I've talked about that meme before, but when like I want to read Spider-Man, so we could read Spider-Man issue 1, started in 1960, or you can do the 1993 version, and then the manga one is up volume 1, bro. There you go. That's where you start.
So there was a Chuck Dixon quote about this where they said, like, if you want to read a comic about golf, there are 6 mangas about golf.
Yeah.
And they're just about golf. And they're not about zombie golf or skeleton golf or, flying golf with angels. It's just golf. And you're just like, hey, I really enjoy snowboarding. And there's like, you'll just find one about snowboarding. You can start volume 1 and then finish at volume 32.
Yeah.
And you're done.
I picked one up the other day called Ping Pong. You never guess what it's about.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, I flicked through it and it's all about people playing ping pong.
Oh,
I
God.
okay, there you go.
And you're like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for.
Don't go there. We'll get in trouble.
That's what it says on the thing, though. You know what I mean? That's like,
I'd read that. I'd be all right. I'd read
yeah.
that.
Here we go.
Good.
Oh dear. Anyway, see, this is what happens.
We've gone long. It's because we got the Make-A-Wish kid on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, it's good.
No,
it's good. I like
that's
it. I like it when
This
it
is
goes
good.
on.
Do you know what else is long? Recommendations.
Hey, my knob.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about my D, but no.
But before we get to that, Tom, it's time for the shout outs. Does anyone have any?
I've just got one. After we did give the Drink and Draw a shout out, all under one roof. Strangers have got a cool new site for all their books. Go to strangerspublishing.com. You can buy some of our books and some other absolutely brilliant books on there. I just had a look at it. It's a great new site. So I think Eddie is moving away from doing like the regular drops, which is what we've talked about in the past, to having just new books will get added to that site. And he's already put some new ones on there that I'm desperate to get. I'm going to go into Gosh this week and ask if they're getting them. If not, I'm just going to order them and take a hit on the shipping. But
isn't that the drop thing though quite a thing in itself? Everyone's waits ready for it to go.
It really is. But I think what he's doing here is he's dropping single books and stuff like that that will sell out really quickly, knowing how much of a following and what sort of good taste he's got in relation to new hot books. I think they'll drop.
That could be tough. Like if they drop it like 3 p.m. stateside, that's like middle of the night for us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is.
Not, but you know what I mean. Like it can
I know.
be.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
He tends to do works out at about 6 p.m. on a Thursday, I think is the way it works.
Okay.
Back of my head. Yeah, for us. But yeah, still you just got to judge it, man. It's refreshing. Yeah. It's like buying S Club 7 when they get back together, when they buy tickets to their concerts, you got to sit there refreshing the page, and yeah. That's mine. That's all I got.
No, not really.
So
go on, Tom.
I do have one, but I'm going to need Tony's help.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to say the first name, Tony. Can you say the last name? Because I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly.
Oh, okay.
So I've been really enjoying the art of Lukasz, begins with a K.
Kowalchzek.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So he's a comics creator and illustrator from Poland, and just his art's fantastic.
Yeah,
really
he's great. We've reviewed his books on here before.
Yeah.
Reckless Wrestlers was an early favourite of ours, wasn't it? Yeah.
Just beautiful, brilliant art, and it's just something about it I just find really enticing. I can't even quite explain why, but just something about it really works for me. So yeah.
We had a good chat about him the other night, actually, didn't we? He's going places, He's getting named on. Is he doing a Fantagraphics book? I can't remember. I haven't looked it up recently, but I think he's with quite a good publisher now, and quite right too. He's got. Yeah. There's no one really, He's on the edge of that sort of Patrick Sparrow kind of feel to his work.
It feels very outlaw comics. You know what I mean? It's that kind of
it really does.
Yeah, I don't know. Just really like it. Really enjoy it. So yeah.
I met him at Gosh when he did that book, the Samurai Slasher book with Mike Garley. I met him and he's a nice dude. Yeah, we had to talk about Steven Seagal for a while.
Do you want if I share my screen very quickly?
Yeah, please do.
Just because I just want to show this very quickly. There we go. Just this.
That's lovely. Tom's sharing it. What's that from, mate?
That is
Ghost Bear.
Bear. Yeah.
There's a bit of the wrestler about that one as well, actually, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know, just something about it. The colours, the line, the weights, the composition.
If you go to what's his is that his Twitter handle?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What's his Twitter handle?
I'll pop it to you in the chat.
Okay, we'll put a link in the show notes so you can see that particular
Cool.
post.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Right. Okay. Time to recommend. It's funny saying it because we were talking about reviews and recommendations and all that shit. But time to recommend some comics. So, Tom,
Yes.
would you like to go first?
I would love to go first.
You got two, Tom, haven't you? I've got
I have
two.
got two, yeah. And I'm just going to
Yeah.
share my screen because that's what we're doing today. And here we go. Right. Okay. I spent my Christmas tearing through this series as if I was stuck in the Titanic and finish it with securing position on a lifeboat. This was absolutely brilliant. It's My Hero Academia by Kohiri. Kohiri begins with a H. Can't pronounce the last word.
Horikoshi.
Thank you, mate.
Horikoshi. Yeah.
You just pick me up, Tony. It's brilliant. Thank
Sorry,
you very
man.
much.
Sorry,
No, no.
sorry, babes. I didn't mean to. Sorry.
No. Please, honestly, please do. I don't give a shit. It's all good. It's just great. It's a great series. In a world populated with superhumans, a superhero-loving Izero Meteora is without power. However, he gains power throughout the course of the series, and you just see this world develop from and you can see from this cover at the beginning, it's quite light and it's quite hopeful. And then we come to volume 28, and I'm hoping this changes. Has this changed on the share screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And
quite a significant covered style change.
Yeah.
It is.
So it's much more sort of brushy, not sort of almost more, I don't want to say it more adult, but more of a mature style, I'd say.
We're talking into basic, and the thing this does really well that I really enjoy is introduces a world, and you get used to that, and then it just starts to introduce problems or conditions or things about it you wouldn't have considered initially, and then just deals with it, and you see that growth of the character throughout the whole thing. And the same way that the covers have changed from this sort of very bright, almost quite childlike, to then this much more brush style, as you said, brush style, much darker, much more intimidating cover.
That almost looks like something that Martin Simmons would have drawn to me.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's volume 28 of My Hero Academia.
And just talking numbers, in April 2021, it was reported that 50 million copies were in circulation. So that's not digital, that's 50 million paper copies. With 37 billion being sold in Japan alone and the remaining 13 million across the rest of the world. And it's just great. I just really enjoyed it.
That series, characters pick up injuries and they stick with them.
Yeah.
They've got that injury for the rest of the story. I don't want to spoil anything about it from here, but the character on the screen now has injuries that they've picked up throughout the course of it, and that affects them. And they basically said, if you keep doing X, Y, Z, you're going to seriously hurt yourself. And it seems like the writer will go through a bit. Yeah,
and that's sorry, man, go on.
Well, it's good that the characters know they have to sacrifice and push, and they pay a price for it. It makes it a lot more kind of believable and empathetic to them.
This is an incredibly tepid take, but it's just a really good series. I really enjoy it.
The more I read, and I'm on a real rip. I'm doing 100 days of manga reading every day, and the more I read, the more I admire these people. That they can fucking put out some books. One I'm about to talk about is the same, but that's done by Shonen Jump, who is old school. Fist of the North Star came out through Shonen Jump. All sorts of books came through them, and it's just this ongoing. What is now a very popular app as well, but the magazine has just been producing some of the best manga out there for years.
It's been around a while, but I think that's a perfect entry point, My Hero, if you're like your superheroes and you want to taste of something different, a different take on it. That's a great one to go for. You'll know very quickly whether you like it or not.
The lazy review would be it's like X-Men but set in Japan, but it's so much more than that.
Right.
And there is an element of X-Men, X-Men always deals with the other. And what I mean by that is you're not part from the norm. The main character is not a normal character in this world in terms of he doesn't have a power, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not so much a spoiler to say he gets one, because it would be a very short series if he didn't. But it's that sort of, it's just that growth. And it's
the whole thing of him getting his abilities, as it were, it's very, very unique and very interesting to kind of read along with. And it grows as he's done. So it's not just now I'm Superman. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So I would, really enjoyed it. And I just, very easy recommend for me. And I just had a great Christmas reading it, frankly.
Good work, man. Good. Can I lead off with my first one, which is also a manga? Do you mind?
Go for it, man. Yeah, go for it.
So I was inspired to read this by two things, really. Firstly, Vince Bond talked about it that's the other Vince, not my Vince. The other Vince on 11 o'clock comics talked about it on 11 o'clock and raved about it, and I thought I've got to read this. I'm having a manga rip. I'm going to read this. And then I was chatting to Tom about it the other night, and he was saying he was going to read it. So we sort of both agreed to read it. Now,
Mhm.
I'm reading mine on Comixology. I've ordered a physical copy of it as well because I really enjoyed it. But Tom, you're reading it on the Shonen Jump app. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
saw-
you're actually 3 volumes ahead. So no spoilers, Tomster.
No.
But we're just going to talk about the first volume because he's read like 1,000 pages beyond me. So I've read the first 207 pages, translated by David Eveline, published by Viz Media through Shonen Jump again. Story and art by Nayo Matsumoto. The first few pages are in color, the same as what we talked about, Dan, a minute ago. So giant kaiju are breaching the city of Tokyo again. There's a division who are called the Third Division, and they're the team who are set up to fight these monsters and stop the incursions. Now, however, following up from each attack is a team that a guy called Kafka Hibino, who's a 32-year-old member of the cleanup team. So he's on a team that go in after the kaiju has been defeated and is laying across a few buildings or whatever it is, and they do the cleanup. He's actually a bit of a frustrated member of the Third Division because he's wanted to apply for it, and in the second half of this book he does again. But he knows what he's doing is important, and he does know how to do it. So if you're going to cut through the stomach of a kaiju, you're going to find all kinds of things in there. You're going to find other monsters and creatures and stuff. It's like cutting through a giant shark, isn't it? You're going to find half a motorbike or something like that. So he goes in with the team, and they don't get any thanks for it. It is very dangerous circumstances. Like the intestines are full of acid sometimes, and they have to wear masks and stuff like that. One of the main members of the Third Division, so this sort of glamorous team who go in and fight the kaiju, is a girl called Mina Ashiro, who's a kaiju hunter, and she has a huge albino tiger as her sort of sidekick. So pretty cool looking. You're more your sort of classic cool looking female character, carries a big gun, has a tiger, in the sort of manga kind of stylings. Now, it wasn't totally clear from this, Tom, you might be able to sort me on this, but he grew up with her, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. They were childhood friends.
Childhood friends, they weren't brother and sister. I did get a bit confused at one point, and then he said he quite liked her, and I thought they were brother and sister, but yeah, that's kind of where I went with it. Now, there's also a new member of the team called Rene Ichikawa, and he's the kind of the stroppy know-it-all newbie on the cleanup team. And Kafka and Rene, they're working on this creature, and they're cutting it up, but while they're doing it, this horrible fucking other sort of newer kaiju climbs out from the body and attacks them as well. And it's got like, I don't know why I find this concern like a bit horrible, because he's got like a human's bald head on a sort of a creature's body, like a lizard or an insectoid body. And I don't know why, that just makes it worse for me. This sort of goggle-eyed, bald-headed creature. And when its jaws are snapping to eat them, it's almost like a human's snapping teeth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But massive, and he saves him from that. And him and Kafka and Rene, they become friends after that. They didn't initially get on together. But what has happened as well is when they're in the hospital, Kafka, something's happened to him. There's this creature that flies over his head and looks at him, and it's kind of like this weird fly with a face and stuff, and it jumps into his body. And it's probably come from somewhere. We're not actually totally clear in the first volume where it's come from. And he transforms into a human-sized kaiju. And he's like, you can see from the image on the cover there, it's almost like skull-like insectoid outer body, almost like, fangs. Awesome. And But he also has the ability to transform a little bit, depending on what the circumstances of the fight are. And stuff. And in the first volume, you begin to realize he can transform, but you don't know why, and he can't control it to start with. And he gets dubbed Kaiju number 8 by a news channel who spots him, and he kind of is in hiding a bit, and he transforms back to human. And the last third of the book really is that him and Rene try and join the division that fights Kaiju, Third Division. So he has to go through the ringer, and they all kinds of tests, and people have got certain abilities and some people haven't, and they actually put them up against kaiju in this battle and it ends on a cliffhanger in the middle of that battle, and it's really well done. And I absolutely loved this, man. I absolutely tore through it. I read it in one reading, sat in it, and it's 207 pages. I mean, it's manga, isn't it? So it's you're turning pages quite regularly. But it fucking rocks, man. It's like a heavy metal comic. It's fucking brilliant. If only Marvel and DC managed this level of fun and energy, I would be all over everything they did. I know they're different things. What are you about to say, Tom? Sorry,
I was going to say, something I really enjoyed about this is how the world feels lived in. Like in Pacific Rim, where the crew comes along and takes apart the monster.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of feeling about it in terms of like, this is work, this happens.
Yeah.
And it's horrific, but people have to take apart this monster, and they've got a deadline of a week to do it in, and no one wants to be on certain duties because it's horrible. And it's just, there's this real kind of like lived in experience of the world that I really enjoyed.
And there's that extra element to it, because you begin to see these people as because he hates his job. Kafka hates his job, but because he's got this work ethic, he'll do it, and he'll do it well. And you see these people, and they're put through the most horrific things. So it's almost, it is a monster. It's a big monsters fighting big monsters book, but it does have a really clever and well executed personal side to it, which I think is really good as well. The mutant monster designs are nuts. Like I could watch them all day. And the art style is cleaner than I expected it would be. I thought it would maybe be more towards the sort of frenetic lines of, I suppose we would have in Western comics with Sean Gordon Murphy, but it's actually a cleaner line than that, I think. Tom, what did you think?
I completely agree. It's really clear where things are. You always get a sense of scale, which is nice. And you always get a sense of what's happening. There's no ambiguity about where the action is in these things, which is brilliant, frankly.
Yeah, I think you're right. And sorry, go on, mate.
Sorry. Oh, no, please, go on.
No, you go on.
I was going to say, you add into that, like, the story goes in. You could hear the synopsis and be like, oh yeah, it's going to be like X, Y, Z, because there are a few big things in this sort of sphere, in the manga and anime sphere, which do this kind of idea. Yeah, it goes different places with it, which is brilliant. Really great to see.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I think as well, and he does what we've seen previously. So he does what Otomo did in Domu or in Akira, where the people's faces are slightly more caricatured. We're used to that sort of more cartoony, simplified face. But the architecture behind them is so detailed. It's incredible.
I love that.
Yeah, I do as well, man. I think it works so well for this sort of book. And when you've got that, it shows a scale, which you need when you've got this sort of big monster thing going on. Really, really clever. Yeah, really good. It's on Comixology. It's come out through, the first volume's come out through Diamond. And as I understand it, you can get pretty much, how many volumes on Shonen Jump?
There are 50, so there are 55, 56 issues.
Nice.
There's 54 issues on Shonen Jump. So volume-wise, like 4 or 5 volumes.
Okay, right, I get you.
Yeah, you can tear through it on there. You can absolutely tear through it on there.
Has this appeared as a story in the Shonen Jump magazine?
Yes.
Oh, right,
yes.
Okay, cool, I get you. Good stuff.
So yeah.
I can recall Scott McCloud, he mentions in one of these books about how what manga comic artists, some do, not all, can't make that sweeping statement, is that they'll show an object, but when you get close to it, they'll put a ridiculous amount of detail in it. So when you pull away from it again, you as a reader know that object has a lot of detail and life to it, but you won't see it in every panel. And that's really interesting, like you said, where they kind of hyper detail building and architecture. So when the scale gets big and that detail isn't there, but you as a reader kind of understand that it is.
Yeah.
And you're not overcomplicating drawings all the time by doing masses and masses of detail.
Yeah. So, really interesting, man. Yeah, good one.
Are you going to go next, or shall I?
You go next, Dan.
Okay, let's go for right. Manga is going to be Killer Bad.
Oh, nice. That's a great cover, man.
Lovely.
Yeah. This is a Kickstart. Can you just see the comic now? The comic?
Just see the cover.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, because I've just got a document here with some words on it, so I don't want to make sure that didn't work. So it's Killer Bad. It's words by Jeffrey Brandt, art by Jason Gogor, lettering and logo designed by Jeff Powell. And the Killer Bad is kind of a satirical look at the kind of the good and bad that was in the comics of the 90s, especially sort of Image and maybe a little bit of Marvel and DC. And if you're kind of familiar with that era of comics, there's many a sort of nod and a wink throughout that you, the reader, and you think, oh, that's so-and-so, that character's like Troll. That's something like that Liefeld would do. One of the comic characters in it is those strange things that Liefeld used to do around people's face. They look like C's, like looking in on it. It's like pads.
Okay.
You've seen they go on these,
on
his jawbone and then around the forehead, and it's like, well, what are they? I've never really understood them, but like half of Liefeld's characters always seem to have it on. But anyway, so it follows the story of the Sick Squad 6, who are an elite like superhuman group that are tasked in the comic to like an assault a remote island and retrieve like this powerful artifact. But they don't realize that their team has been infiltrated by a murderous psychopath, and essentially from the comic, not all of them come back from this mission. It's like a grindhouse style, absolute gore fest. There's this mayhem, carnage. It really kind of sets up the premise, and then this fucking foot goes down, and you're blasting all the way to the comic till the end, and you're like, oh, bloody hell, that was it. I'm at the end now. It just absolutely you just rocket through it. The artwork by Jason Gougor. I'm gonna have to Gourgor. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, so no. Apology, Jason. But his work throughout is it's lovely, absolutely great. It's really how can I put this? It's really colourful, and it's got a distinctive colour palette for every single location they go to, like say a red or a green or a blue. And I've seen a lot of indie kind of comics and superhero comics of late that they don't really get the whole colour themes, and it's just every colour's on the page all the time. And it really feels like, this is you don't really understand how to kind of like communicate with using these colors, and just everything feels oversaturated and kind of thrown at you. Jason, absolutely master of it. It's really good. Great character design. The kind of the levels of gore and action are reminiscent of like Ryan Otley on Invincible.
Reminds me a bit of Mr. Monster by Michael Gilbert. Do you remember that book?
Yes. The cover art is not done by the
interior
guy who does the interior. I believe there was a certain amount of different covers depending on what level of the Kickstarter you backed.
Right.
You got a different one. I would love to have got this in print, but because it's a US title, I've got the digital one. The script, Jeffrey Bedant, is absolutely great as well. Really punchy. Like I said, it just keeps moving forward. You got this setup, and then it's delivery. There's a fantastic scene where there's a super speed character, and he's getting into a fight with someone, and you get these series of like panel strips that go over the entirety of the panel, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, and he dashes from where he is right around the world to get to round the back of this guy, the other character. Essentially, this other character goes to drop a cigar, and you see this time frame of where it's left his fingers, and it's barely moved a fraction of an inch, and he's run around the globe, and you see it from like a first person point of view where his hands are kind of in shot, and he's running across the ocean, and next minute he's running through the streets of Paris, next minute he's running through Morocco or wherever in the world just to get behind this person he's fighting. And it was a really lovely little touch. So stuff like that goes down really well, and the kind of the characters are well done without being like caricatures of heroes of the time. You kind of feel like these characters could go on and on. Not all of them do, but I really enjoyed it. And Jeff Power does the letters. The mastheads really like that. That works fine, and he does a great job throughout on the lettering. I honestly thought it's a fantastic comic, and can't wait to see more of it. They got a Facebook page where you look up Killer Bad, or there'll be a link in the show notes to the Killer Bad Kickstarter thing where you can get some more stuff from. I don't think they've got a link where you can get it otherwise, but I'm sure they do. That's just me not doing it. So there we go.
Nice one.
Okay, my one, which is a sort of it's an upcoming book. That's the best way to say it. It's an upcoming Kickstarter at the end of this month, and it is
love that cover, man.
Our old pal Edison Neo. It is the 3rd issue of No Brainer, his solo comics anthology. I mean, it's absolutely churning them out. He's a machine. Absolute machine. But the quality is amazing. He very kindly sent us through the digital version of the comic for us to look through, and I just immediately sort of devoured it. It's 40 pages longer than the previous two, but it introduces a new strip. There is, of course, Thumgard, the main character, who is a giant sort of red ape man, a space bounty hunter, as it were, with his pal Scully, who's like a strange alien cat creature. You have to see it for yourself. That's what I love about these stories. And it's an ongoing. The Thumgard is an ongoing tale, and it's been in every single issue of No Brainer. But this one, the cover of the No Brainers, what I love about these is Edison just playing. It's like sort of the main characters like surfing or chilling out or like eating cereal or paintballing as is on the third issue.
It's such a lovely cover. It really is just absolutely lovely.
Yeah, and it's sort of it gives a sort of almost a false sense of suspense because the characters that are on this cover are the two stories within that. No, without any spoilers, that scene doesn't happen. It's just fun, and that's what these comics are: fun, and they're amazingly fun to read. The Thumgard Final Mission Chapter 3 continues where issue 2 left off. Lots of I don't want to spoil it for you, so you need to catch up when it's the Kickstarter. You'll be able to catch up on 1 and 2, but it definitely picks up. There's some great creature designs, plenty of action, a little bit more sort of character development as we go along. A little bit, chipping away at Thumgard's sort of exterior, find out a bit more about him, which is great because it's not just all guns and shooting monsters and stuff. But it's quite a lot of that, and that's why we love it. There's also a mini strip in the middle of it, and what I love about this, the Thumgard tale, when we say it's like anthologies and there's 2 stories, normally you think an anthology is probably like 6 to 10 pages or something like that. Thumgard's like a full comic by itself, and Edison's added another couple of comics with it, which is amazing. There's How to Have Fun at the Supermarket, which is Eddie's life tips. I'm not going to spoil that for you, but it's not necessarily what you think it's going to be, but it is hilarious. And the new strip, which has a he's playing with different sort of styles as well. This one feels very manga in its way as well. This one's called Monkey Busters, which is about a sort of village that grows tomatoes that are constantly assaulted by a tribe of monkeys, nasty monkeys that steal all their fruit and attack the village. And there's a trio of old women who decide enough is enough, and they've got air guns, and they're going to take them on. And it's just spectacular fun. It's full on action. This strip is also black and white, so it feels very much very manga influence as well. But it's got that wonderful sense of humor, loads of kinetic action. I want plenty more Monkey Busters to come, which is I love the fact that I can say that as a sentence.
Yeah,
that sort of story
not an
played
easy
out,
thing to say.
Yeah,
that story played out in the real world a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? Did you see that news story?
No.
It was in Lahore or one of the, kind of like one of those towns or cities that has like monkeys, like kind of cohabiting.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah.
And because they were having no tourists to feed the monkeys just went on a rampage through the city, just getting food.
I would not be surprised if that sort of thing was an influence. We definitely went into this strip because if you go to Neo Comic Art, he posts like certain panels and you see like occasional small sections of logos and stuff for it. But I want to see more. This is another potential great one. And at the end of this, he's going to be able to collect these into their own individual volumes. That's what I love about this anthology.
It's good. It's really good.
Wonderful. You can. It's he does like these short one-off stories, including that heartbreaking one about Salmon, which was in issue 2. Which is both depressing and hilarious, which is like all good humor, really. But then he's just having fun with comics and just creating giant monsters and stuff like that. There's what he's also doing with this campaign. He sent us a brief one of this. He's going to try something different. He's going to be doing a raw edition of the issue as well. which basically the pages in their original scanned format.
Wow. Okay.
So you'll have the comic. You'll have the comic sort of just as it was, as he's laying it out. And there's script and digital thumbnails laid out side by side. So you see the process. As he said to us, he's not calling it an artist edition because it will be a standard size format book, like the Unwrapped series by DC. Do you ever see that?
Oh, I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to be adding something a bit different. He's going to try this, and also it's interesting to see those sort of like. He says the script is really simple, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know it really. I mean, everyone has their own way of writing script. You don't have to be Alan Moore and write 20 pages for one panel. But it's just going to be interesting to see how it changes, because I think he's like many of us in a way that, like, you have your script, and when it's on the page, you tweak the dialogue, you add jokes, take away jokes, and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be interesting for you process junkies out there to get a hold of this as well, just to see, because we've talked about this before. It's only a matter of time before the pros he's picked up.
Yeah, it won't be long. They should have picked up his previous series.
His
already.
stuff, absolutely, just like his art style. It's kind of a mix between kind of Western Eastern styles.
Yeah,
it's the best of both, and
very readable, isn't it?
Very readable, very kind of so much energy and action in it,
and a very accessible sort of style and sense of humor as well. It's very open. I mean, this is like Saturday morning kids cartoons mixed with all those influences that all of us nerds love, whether it be sci-fi or kung fu or just
grannies.
Or grannies.
Gilfs.
Who doesn't like gilfs? Yeah. So this is going to be great. It's launching at the end of this month. But saying this, he's so adept at doing these Kickstarters. It might start this week. You don't know. He's an absolute, and like, there's probably going to be another few issues, I'd imagine, this year. So if you haven't checked out any no-brainer, I mean, seriously, get on it and get the previous ones as well.
Yeah, get on the Kickstarters for this dude, because you get your money's worth. You get them quick and they're great. Yeah.
And also doesn't ask for the world. He's just delivering good comics, so you'll get them. And like the digital's perfect as well. It's a nice packet. Even if you're worried about postage or whatever, get the digital, get the physical, however you want. It's just worth getting. Edison Neo, we're gonna have to get him back on the show in the future.
Yeah, he's a dude.
Please do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a nice dude, isn't he?
Yeah. So yes, so that is my one, and anyone who can see the video can see that it is an awesome cover. That's all I have to say. And like Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Boom.
That's how I base my life on Forrest Gump.
Can't really go wrong.
No, you can't go. You can't.
Cracking at table tennis.
Yeah.
And second table tennis reference you've had in the show.
Oh well, maybe that's the name of the episode. Okay. Tony, you first, and then Tom.
So do you mind? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can finish us off.
Oh, the
that was too saucy.
So I'm going to talk about a DC book. Look at me being all mainstream. So One Star Squadron, which is it's a 6-issue mini. It's currently had 2 issues out. Written by Mark Russell, art Steve Lieber, colors Dave Stewart. So you can't get better than that, can you? Letters Dave Sharp. Brittany Holzer is the editor. We don't often give a shout out to the editors. I think we should get to know them a bit better these days. So it's a bit. I said to you earlier, Vince, and I said it's like almost like the spiritual continuation of the what was it called? The Deadly Foes of Spider-Man? I forget the name of it now.
Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
Superior Foes of Spider-Man. It's almost like a spiritual, and it's
which was Nick Spencer and Steve Lieber.
That's right, yeah. But it's got that sort of bit of a useless bunch of characters, trying to make a few quid, kind of idea to it. It's also there's a little bit of the Justice League. We had Maxwell Lord and Guy Gardner and Booster Gold and all that sort of thing in it. It's also there's a touch of that about it. They have a group of so-called heroes that the Red Tornado mostly is running. They operate through a hero app called Heroes, HEROZ, and then the number 4 and then the letter U. Heroes for You. And you can book anything through it. So you can book a hero to come over your house and get your cat out of a tree, or attend your kid's birthday party, which is what happens in issue 2, or provide security for a jewelry shop, or even something more serious. I think it's something more serious is what appears on the Comixology ad. And I put in brackets, they wish, because they don't seem to do that sort of thing. They even do cameo style greetings. So you've got like, this is Black Canary wishing Joel a very special bar mitzvah, you know, just cringy, almost like cringe humor to a certain extent. GI Robot does kids parties. There's quite a good panel of him doing a kids party and telling the kids about how many people he killed on the Mekong Delta, which I thought made me laugh. And then at one point, Red Tornado's sort of bemoaning the state of the business. And he said, people called us the one-star squadron behind our backs, and even on Yelp. In issue 1, Minuteman, who's a much unknown character who takes Miraclo pills that give him superpowers for 1 minute. He's only got 1.5 out of 5 stars on the customer rating on the app. But Red Tornado isn't probably the Red Tornado we've seen previously. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he's almost wondering why he's doing stuff. He's having this sort of existential crisis. Then a man in a hospital gown is dumped on their doorstep, and he's got the word gangbuster sewn into his name badge on his hospital gown. And anyone who knows that character knows he was the sort of Metropolis hero, you know, the one.
Yeah.
Occasionally appeared in Action Comics and stuff like that. I think he was in the Seven Soldiers series, something like that. Anyway. And he keeps saying, evildoers beware. Other heroes in it, Plastic Man's in it, which I was so surprised. The Heckler, if you remember that, Keith Giffen did that, and
yes.
Hawk and Dove are in it.
Okay.
Flying Fox, although at the moment they've only been in it briefly. Flying Fox is in it, and Power Girl is in it. She's the first 2 issues don't really have her in costume. She's wearing sort of business suits, and she's a fan of Maxwell Lord's book on business. You know, I think that's a play on The Art of the Deal by Trump. I think they're playing on that, you know, he's got a book. And it does really feel like she's slumming it a bit actually in it. But you get there's a cliffhanger in issue 1 that doesn't play out in issue 2 quite yet. But there's obviously there's a power play to be made to who's going to run this company. And Red Tornado's not great at it, and he's sort of failing at it. The start of issue 2 focuses on Minuteman, where it starts with him trying to score Miraclo pills off a street dealer, and he meets the street dealer, and the street dealer has to say to him, "Look, mate, I'm not being funny, but have you ever bought drugs before? Because you've been a bit loud and drawing a lot of attention to us. Can you just calm down?" Yeah, there's a bit of this going on. And he tries to swap. They made a movie of his life, which he keeps going on about, and he tries to swap the movie for a pill. And he said, "No, these are 300 quid. These pills. What are you talking about?" And he can't get any assignments, not even the shittier ones. And it's solid, it's colourful, it's funny, it's well drawn, it's well written. I would say if any of these characters are your darlings, what's the name of the female Firestorm? She's in the cover of issue 1. Is it Firebird? I can never remember her name. The Pat Bodrick character. She's in the team as well. So there's a various numbers of people in the team, you know. But I think this is where I'll play devil's advocate on this. I think if any of these characters are favourites of yours, you're not going to really recognise them.
Okay.
Red Tornado was kind of a tortured character when you used to read him in the Justice League and in his own miniseries. I think Kurt Busiek wrote it off the top of my head. But Power Girl isn't really recognizable as a character. You know, if you've read a gangbuster comic, I know there's not that many out there, but he's not really recognizable either. And I almost feel like they're burning these characters just for a cheap joke.
Okay.
I did enjoy it, but that's sort of itching at the back of my head, thinking, how long can we do this for? You know, how long can we just use and throw away these characters? But like I say, that's me being very fanboy. You know, Red Tornado isn't, you know, I'm sure there's...
I mean, Superior Foes did the whole thing of like, you had these serious bad guys that you'd see in old comic books. And then when you saw them in Superior Foes, they were very much a bunch of just C-list criminals that seemed like they were a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is a spiritual counterpart to that book.
And why I've just bought both issues.
Oh, good man. Good story. But to me, it's like, did they ever survive that? Did they ever come back and be their own? Like, for example...
I think it harkens back to what we say earlier. I think some of these big companies don't know how to handle their C-list. I mean, never mind the B-list. the CD list characters. That's why someone like Red Tornado, no one's doing anything with them, so they can. If a writer and an artist go, yeah, let's have some fun with them for 6 issues, give it a year, and Red Tornado will be back to how it was.
But will he? That's my question, and that's what I wonder.
But
for example,
here's another thing: the Justice League, the classic Bwahaha Justice League, Batman, comedy character in that, for want of a better word.
Yeah, I think the Bat's a different character, and I would give the example of I don't think Guy Gardner's come back from that series. I don't think Guy Gardner has ever become a credible hero since he got punched out by Batman. I think the same with Booster Gold, same with same with Blue Beetle. You know, I don't think they ever survived that impression that we've still got stuck in our heads of them. And I think we're burning characters.
It's down to the flavor of the character you like. Because, for instance, for me, that's the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold I want. Do you know what I mean? If there's a deadly serious Booster Gold story, I'm not interested in it. So I think, to your point, I think you're absolutely right. Sometimes there are these sacred lambs. There are these things, you know. If it's
we shouldn't really have that. I just wonder whether it's just for a cheap gag. Yeah. I suppose
if they did something like, you know, if all of a sudden Daredevil turned around and it was a cheap gag when he's had 5 years of being
grim,
then it's not going to jibe. No. But also with a series like this is probably a series that's just it's on the corner of the shelves, isn't it? Something like this.
Yeah, I don't know how well it's selling or anything like that, but
it's a limited, isn't it? Is it a limited?
It's a limited, yeah. I'm not sure how much heat it's or the sales are on it or anything like that, and I don't suspect they're that good. I just worry that everyone's the same joke in it. Do you know what I mean? It's very readable and fun, but everyone's the same sort of joke. And basically, what I can see they've done, it almost like I can feel this seeping from the pitch meeting is. Someone said, "Why don't we do The Office?" But they're shitty superheroes. Yeah, you know, it's almost like a cheap go-to. But saying that, it's well executed. It's readable. To be fair, nothing much happens in the first issue. So I think we're almost like trying it before it's done anything yet. You know, we're almost putting it on trial before it's got there. So maybe read the first 6 issues and I'll decide. But I was playing devil's advocate. As I read the second issue, I thought. Yeah. Oh, I hope they don't just, you know.
With the comedy of something like this, though, I think it's where the power of like Steve Lieber. Steve Lieber's fantastic at facial.
Yeah, Steve
comedy.
Lieber's the power player.
Yeah. If you put this sort of comedy stuff in like a Joe Madureira or something, love that artist, but can't imagine I can't. Lieber's just so amazing at like expressions and reactions and facial acting, which is what a lot of this dialogue-based comedy is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny how he's become that because Whiteout wasn't that at all, was it?
No,
it's a weird one. He's gone that. We've had Foes of Spider-Man, we've had The Fix, and now we've got this, and it's almost like a straight line for him. But yeah, give it go. Maybe wait for the trade. See what you think. I picked it up because I like Lieber, to be fair. But
I'll go through these 2 issues, but as it is a limited series, I'll probably wait for trade. Probably.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Yeah, give it a go. I can always let you. I'm probably going to read it, but I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Good. That's my one. Over to you, Tomster.
Thank you. Righto.
Let me just, I'm going to stop.
Oh. And then a hill. And then finally, let me just check. So I'm looking for. Yep. Okay. So my last one, and the bread on this sandwich is
focaccia.
Focaccia is Spy Family by Tatsuzo Endo. This is a comedy, primarily. Comedy in the fast nature. So, quick summary of the story. Story follows a spy who has to build a family to execute a mission. They never say what country it is. It's Germany. Not realizing the girl he adopts as a daughter and the woman he agrees not to be in a fake marriage with are a mind reader and assassin, respectively. The thing Spy Family does incredibly well is balancing the fun espionage action with heartwarming family moments, with the girl, Anna, being the only one who's actually in on everything, who knows exactly that her dad's a spy and her mum's an assassin. And it's just really well done. And they get the kid done really well. She's not annoying at all. She's a perfectly believable child. And yeah, it's just really good.
It's a strong cover, man. I like that cover. It says a lot. It tells a lot of story without,
yes, there's a lot going on there.
Pick it off the shelf, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Where did you read this on, Tom?
Well, where else but Shonen Jump?
It's on the Shonen Jump. Okay.
Yeah. There are 58 separate issues of it at the moment.
That's
basically, there's enough touchy-feely stuff to contrast with the sort of the spy side of it as well. That it just really works for me. It's like goes slightly farcical in nature, but for me, it just really works. Really works.
Can I just ask you about the Shonen Jump thing? Is this free for you to read all of it, or are you having to? Is it in-app purchases as well?
So you pay the £2 a month, and you can read it all.
Right. Is that the same with the previous one, Kaiju number 8?
Yep.
It's
So £2.
fucking absolute bargain.
That's amazing. Yeah,
so
but
£2.
you've got purchases as well.
So there are for certain things, but everything I've recommended today, you can just pay £2 for, and you're all good to go.
Wow. Okay, that is
There's
amazing.
actually reams of stuff on there.
Yeah, that's
Absolute
incredible.
reams of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to give you an idea in terms of numbers, as of November 2021, it sold 12.5 million copies, and it was the sixth volume was the 27th best-selling manga volume of 2021. It's just really good. It's really good. It's really lighthearted. It's fun, and there's enough touchy-feely moments in there that kind of like pulls at my heartstrings, and just it was nice. It was really nice. So yeah, if you want kind of like a farcical comedy thing with a set of like a spy backdrop in basically Germany, this is.
Okay. So is this like post-war Germany?
It's Cold War Germany.
Oh, right. I like all that sort of thing.
Wow. Okay.
It never explicitly says Germany, but it's very clearly Germany.
Right. Okay. I get you.
It's a generic country, but
okay.
But yeah, it's good fun, and yeah, it all works really well. It's quite funny having like a kid who knows the whole story. If that makes sense. Like the kid knows exactly what's going on and just wants to make it.
She's almost the reader a bit.
She is basically the reader, and it's just really well done. So yeah, that's my final recommendation, Spy Family. Just really enjoyed
Good stuff, man.
I'll have to check that one out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Loads of fantastic books for you all to check out, get ready for, and most importantly, read and see if you enjoy yourself. We hope you enjoy the comics and this episode. If you've got anything that you want us to talk about or put a shout out for over the next couple of weeks or months, there's several different ways you can get in touch with us. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @theawesomepod. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. There's also the community group Awesome Comics Talk on Facebook. Just search for it, join it, and get stuck in. There's no hard selling, much like there's no hard selling on the Slack channel. If you want to get involved with that, with a great community of people there, get in touch with us. You can join in. And
everyone's welcome again on the Slack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continue the thread, whether it be on the any social media or on the Slack or anything like that. Keep the conversation going.
And if this is the first time you've seen us on YouTube, welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. And if you listen to us like you normally do, thank you very much for
definitely.
Listen to us. We truly appreciate it. We hope you're doing all right wherever you are, and thank you for listening, whether it's on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe and leave a review. There's algorithms and all kinds of weird stuff that means that you never know where people will find this show. So wherever you found us, we hope you enjoyed it, had a laugh, and discovered some great comics at the same time. Maybe agreed or disagreed with us as you were listening. That's the whole point of it. Keep the discussion going. And think whether there were any other networks, you might have heard us on another network like Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What are the networks we on, Tony?
I think we're on Pod Shoot Him in the Cock.
Surprising popular one.
Yeah. And a painful one.
Yeah. Do you know there's some guy's got a world record for getting the hardest kick in the nuts?
Oh, no.
I can't imagine there's people lining up to beat that one.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get your name in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Mostly I avoid getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
Tends to be the idea.
I think, I'll
It's
tell
got
you
easier
that.
ways, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's just
You hit it with a toffee hammer, though, sometimes. You know what I mean? It didn't go down.
Practice. And then you just lose all feeling below the waist.
I'm working on
that.
Oh God, it's late. It's happened.
Yeah. Where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Patreon.com/tribute press. There's a new Flesh Link coming, which we're working on at the moment. Currently, we're about 2/3 of the way through the first issue of Fur, which I hope you dig in, and we're talking about going to the presses with at the moment.
Ah, nice. You did a collected one of that, haven't you? Like the first bit as a PDF.
Yes. So what we do is we put Monday to Friday, we put a page out, and then every Friday afternoon we put a collection of all the pages so far. So for example, you want to join the Patreon today, on Friday you'd get the whole issue so far to read, sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of how we do
That's how I like to read it.
Yeah, and some really lovely interaction with people. People have been like commenting. Stephen Ingram's Patreon's the same. Ian Ashcroft's Patreon's the same. Gareth Hopkins' Patreon's the same, and Dan yours is the same as well. Some really great interactions on there. I'm really enjoying being part of that Patreon community now. I think it's really working now. You know, definitely.
Nice.
You're following up from that. I'm at I'll fuck that up. Patreon / Vanguard Comic. And you can find me posting stuff there. I showed Tony just before we started recording how I'm getting on with Viper, and I'm almost there. It's been an absolute fucking battle, this one, but I'm almost there.
Good stuff, mate.
It's going to be 50 odd pages. I keep adding more pages.
Yeah.
I've got to stop myself.
You mad fool, but it's going to be brilliant when it does come out.
Hope so.
You can find me on social media at Jester Diablo, and Tom, wonderful Tom. Where can people find you and your stuff?
You can find me on Twitter at this chucklehead. Dan, is that 50 pages of comics?
That will include covers and a few bits and bobs, but
still, man,
it's a lot of pages.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get on Show and Jump. He'd be on Show and Jump in no time.
Don't follow me. Follow Dan. Check out that instead. How about me?
Here you go.
No, do follow Tom.
Yes, please follow him. Follow him home.
Yeah. Don't follow him in real life.
If you ever see me in real life, please leave me be.
I love it whenever you say that. Oh dear. But thank you very much for listening, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, we hope you're happy, healthy, doing okay. Wherever you are in the world, because we love you, don't we, Dan?
Yeah.
Don't we, Tom?
Lots of love.
Don't line me up for a question. I'm not going to say I love people. I fucking don't love people.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going
to
make
love to people.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So he loves. He does love. He's capable of love. He's not like Bicentennial Man. Oh no, he was capable.
Like dirty love.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a reference, Vince.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I will bring out a Bicentennial Man reference. I thought I'd wait until episode 341, but who knows?
I'm a massive Isaac Asimov fan, and I've never seen that movie.
Well, if you turn on ITV2 at any point, 50-50 chance of it being on.
I can't bus tours on at the moment.
Yeah. It's a very long film. You find yourself aging alongside a robot.
It's late, listeners.
It's like that Titanic meme. So it's been so and so years.
It's been 87 years. It's still going.
Yeah. Much like the end of this show. But no, wherever you are in the world, we hope you have a great week. Read loads of comics. Recommend some comics to your friends. Never mind social media. Don't post it. Just tell some of your mates about some of the comics you're reading that they should check out. Let's have a life outside of the bubble, shall we?
Do you know what? In the Slack on the podcast discussion, chuck a book in there. You're in
let's have a book. Let's see what you're reading. Yeah.
Yes.
I've had some great manga recommendations to people on the Slack. Thanks to the guys who are doing that. Yeah, some great stuff.
Yes, and there'll be plenty more talk about that in the future. So have a great week. Read loads of comics. Make loads of comics. And from Dan, Tony, Tom, and myself, what should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.